Welcome to Infinite Novel Audio. Subscribe, and enjoy this video. Chapter 1. Berating Qian Renxue. Qian Renxue, is your brain seeking broken? Why are you following me? If you want to compensate, if you want to make amends, go find someone else. I've never seen such a stupid B*TCH. You ignored the vast foundation of Spirit Hall and poured all your focus into a piece of trash who looks down on you. Your brain is filled with nothing but that pathetic obsession with Tang San. You were played like a fiddle by Tang San, yet you were still pleased with yourself. Your love-addled brain has completely stripped you of basic reason. How did the angel god position end up being inherited by an idiot like you? You've completely disgraced Spirit Hall. You are nothing but a pile of mud that can't be plastered onto a wall. You squandered Spirit Hall's tens of thousands of years of foundation. Now you feel guilty, you regret it, and you want to make amends. It's too late. If I were you, I'd just slit my own throat to avoid being captured by others, used as a plaything, and tarnishing the reputation of the angel lineage. In a courtyard near the edge of the extreme north, 6-year-old Qian Yu pointed at the former angel god, Qian Renxue, and cursed loudly. Won't you be hurting her too much by saying that? Hu Liena, standing to the side, heard the harsh cursing and cautiously spoke up to persuade Qian Yu. Hurt my ass. I was just busy berating her and didn't berate you. Are you feeling uncomfortable about that? Hu Liena, are you any better? Compared to Qian Renxue, you are even more disgusting. Spirit Hall raised you from an orphan, groomed you into a holy maiden, and Bibaidong treated you as her own, exhausting the resources of Spirit Hall to pave your way. And what did you do? Just because of Tang San's hypocritical maneuvering in Slaughter City, you completely lost your mind. You no longer had Spirit Hall, which raised you, or your teacher, who treated you with sincerity in your eyes. For the sake of a piece of *T like Tang San, you went against Spirit Hall at every turn, even going so far as to betray your own roots, forgetting who gave you all of this. Anyone could betray Bibaidong, but you, Hu Liena, have no right to. Just for the sake of so-called *T love, you directly caused Bibaidong to lose 3 100,000-year soul rings. You deserve to die too. If you hate how I speak, kill me now. Stop seeking pestering me, all right. Qian Yu felt parched from all the cursing and was panting for breath. Ignoring his image, he simply lay down on the ground to rest. Looking at the azure sky and the distant snow-capped mountains, his heart felt like 10,000 grass-mud horses were galloping through it. How the *CK did he transmigration to the Douluo Continent, and right after the Twin Gods' War ended, at that. What's even more *CK'd up is that the original owner of this body was a descendant of the Spirit Hall Angel Legion, and he had just turned 6. Not long ago, he had even awakened a 4-winged angel martial soul. In this time period, the angel martial soul was essentially a rat crossing the street that everyone wanted to beat, worse off than even the fallen spirit masters. Fortunately, the spirit master who awakened his spirit was one of his own. Otherwise, he might have been executed as a heretic the moment he awakened it. But as luck would have it, he was spotted by those two idiots, Qian Renxue and Hu Liena, when he was awakening his spirit. Then, whether out of guilt and a desire to make amends, or just to find some psychological comfort, they chose to groom him. Isn't this just an unprovoked disaster? The reason he took his maid, absconded with all the wealth he could carry, and came to the edge of the extreme north before the news of the defeat arrived, was to hide and avoid getting involved with Spirit Hall. Despite all his precautions, he never expected that these two idiots would come here after their defeat. Tang San might not care about other people from Spirit Hall, but how could he not have someone watching Qian Renxue, who had once been the angel god? It could be concluded that from the moment these two idiots arrived, he had already been put on the blacklist by Tang San's group. After all, those guys would absolutely never allow an innate full spirit power, 4-winged angel wielder to grow up. The reason he cursed them so much and Qian Renxue and Hu Liena did not show life Kai and kill him was that they also realized this point in hindsight. Facing this situation without a golden finger, his fate was already sealed. Qian Yu couldn't be bothered to resist anymore, so he simply let go of all inhibitions. Better to die early and be reincarnated early. Maybe there would even be a chance to restart. Qian Yu, how do you know all of this? At first, Qian Renxue was completely stunned by the scolding, but after she reacted, she quickly realized something was wrong. Some of the secrets involved were things even they themselves didn't know, so how did this child in front of them find out? Don't ask. If you ask, it means I don't want to say. If you're unhappy, kill me now. Qian Yu had the look of someone who had given up on everything. Who could understand the sorrow in his heart? He had been careful, rushing for over a month with his maid to avoid everyone's gaze and finally settle down, only for trouble to show up before he could even catch his breath. And it was the kind of trouble that couldn't be solved. Anyone would have a mental breakdown if this happened to them. Is it a divinity or something else? Qian Renxue looked at Qian Yu in front of her and fell into deep thought. A 6-year-old boy, thousands of miles away, yet he knew every secret thing they had done. This was absolutely not normal. The only thing she could think of was an existence related to a divinity. The problem was, she had once been the angel god herself, yet she couldn't tell what was going on at all. Do you think I still have a chance? Qian Renxue hesitated for a moment before tentatively asking again. She was truly unwilling to give up. Hearing these words, Qian Yu sat up from the ground, staring fixedly at Qian Renxue. After a long while, he finally spoke. How far are you willing to go? Wait a moment, I'll deal with some small fry first. Hearing Qian Yu say this, Qian Renxue's eyes lit up, and her expression immediately became fierce. The next moment, a powerful divine force erupted from within her body. Although she was currently only an 89th rank spirit Douluo, she possessed a divine rank physique, divine rank mental force, and was holding the angel god sword. She could easily kill even a titled Douluo. The next moment, Qian Renxue's figure disappeared from where she stood, and when she reappeared, she was holding a severed head. It was the head of a titled Douluo elder from the Clear Sky sect. No matter the cost, I can pay it. Qian Renxue threw the head on the ground and looked at Qian Yu with an extremely serious gaze. As a loser, you no longer have a chance. But I do, give me all of your power. If I can luckily succeed, I will resurrect you. As for failure, Qian Yu stopped there. He didn't continue, the meaning self-evident. For a loser, there is only one path, death. Indeed, the situation before him could be described as a disastrous start, but he still wanted to give it a try. Although Qian Renxue had shattered her angel divinity and angel god position, it didn't mean that everything had completely dissipated. The legends of the god realm clearly stated that the angel god position and the Rakshasa god position were vacant in the god realm, which meant there was still a possibility of attaining godhood. Even if Tang San already possessed 2 god positions, so what? Even 10,000 years later, he hadn't truly mastered the Asura god-king position. Without the baptism of the god realm's immortal spiritual energy, he was nothing more than a 100th level god. As long as he caught up fast enough and found enough of an opening, it wasn't impossible to have a fighting chance. Whether it was the god realm or the Douluo Continent, the current Tang San could not control everything. Although this start was terrible, it was still much better than 10,000 years later. Abandon everything to gamble for a glimmer of life. Qian Renxue fell silent. This answer was not what she wanted. Let me consider it. After a long silence, Qian Renxue still didn't give a final answer. Afterward, she stood there in a daze, not knowing what she was thinking about. Qian Yu didn't disturb Qian Renxue. He didn't hold much hope for this. Those words were just mentioned casually. He had been carried away when he was cursing earlier, but now that he had come to his senses, he felt a wave of lingering fear. So, taking advantage of the moment Qian Renxue was in a daze, he quietly slipped away. What to do next was truly a matter that required careful consideration. Since Qian Renxue killed the person Tang San arranged, it means that it's very likely he didn't send the message out, and my identity hasn't been exposed yet. Should I change places and continue running away? Qian Yu pondered for a while and felt it was worth a try. He planned to find an excuse to slip away with his maid early tomorrow morning. In the middle of the night, Qian Yu was sleeping soundly when, in a daze, he felt someone standing beside him. He opened his hazy eyes and saw Qian Renxue's stunningly beautiful face. But at this moment, Qian Renxue's eyes were bloodshot and filled with red veins, her expression fierce, appearing like a devil in his daze. If I give all my power to you, how much of a chance do you have to defeat Tang San? After you succeed, is there any way to resurrect some people? Qian Renxue spoke hoarsely, her eyes filled with anticipation. It was unimaginable what kind of mental journey she had gone through in the past half-day. I cannot give you an accurate answer, because I don't know either. I do know one thing: if we don't try, if we don't gamble, we won't even have the slightest chance. Qian Yu really hadn't expected that Qian Renxue would actually consider giving her power to him. If that were really the case, he would truly want to attempt a limit-breaking operation. Fine, since you want it, I will give you all my power. Immediately, Qian Renxue gave her answer. Chapter 2: Not knowing what a brain is for. She knew this was absurd. But perhaps this was the only hope. It was truly because this little guy before her was very unusual. Qian Renxue, don't be impulsive. Hu Liena, who had arrived in Qian Yu's room at some unknown point, hurriedly spoke up to stop her. The two had originally been existences who detested the sight of each other, but ever since Spirit Hall was destroyed, only the two of them were left to rely on each other, and a strange kind of emotion seemed to have grown between them. Qian Yu did not pay attention to Hu Liena's interruption, simply waiting quietly for Qian Renxue to make a decision. In fact, he had another path he could take. That was to let Qian Renxue go to the ice and fire Yin Yang well to take a gamble. If Qian Renxue could obtain the Fire Dragon King's gift within it, perhaps she might still have a chance to reascend to her god position. But Qian Yu did not trust her. Fate must still be held in one's own hands. On the Douluo Continent, there had never been any precedent for curing a love-addled brain. If I continue to live on like this, after 100 years, I will eventually turn into a mound of dirt. As the divine force within me gradually dissipates, just as the kid Qian Yu said, perhaps by then I will become a plaything for those nobles. I cannot accept such a thing. It would be better to take advantage of the fact that I can still communicate with the angel temple and can still mobilize some divine force and do something now. Liena, after I sacrifice all my power to this little guy, you will have to rely on yourself to protect him until he has fully grown. After saying this, Qian Renxue turned to look at Qian Yu. She had already made her decision. You, why go this far? Hu Liena reached out, wanting to hold Qian Renxue back, but failed to catch her. Hold on, tell me, do you not have any plan at all? For example, how much divine force can you still mobilize through the angel temple? How exactly will you give your power to me, and what can you provide me? Having once been a divinity, do you not have the ability to forge a second martial soul for me? At the very least, you should be able to upgrade my angel martial soul to the seraphim level. Have you not thought about whether Tang San might notice after you communicate with the angel temple, and whether he might quickly rush over here? Looking at Qian Renxue, who was about to take action right before his eyes, Qian Yu felt a massive headache. How did she manage to play the role of an excellent crown prince while she was in disguise? Did she really not know what a brain was for? Whether it was Qian Renxue or Hu Liena, they truly had not thought about these things. Answer me first. Can you bestow a second martial soul upon me, preferably a tool spirit, and can you upgrade my four-winged angel into a seraphim? Seeing that the other party hadn't thought about anything at all, Qian Yu had no choice but to take it one step at a time. Using the divine artifact Angelic Sacred Sword as a guide, I can indeed still mobilize some of the angel god's divine force. Helping your spirit upgrade to a seraphim is not difficult. As for bestowing a second martial soul upon you, that can also be attempted, though I cannot guarantee whether it will ultimately become a tool spirit. I can use the angel god set to disguise the two of you. As long as you are not standing right in front of Tang San, your identities will not be exposed. Besides that, after I sacrifice myself, I can also try to merge a sliver of my divine soul into the angelic sacred sword. Qian Renxue thought for a moment and quickly provided a solution. By the way, you were a divinity after all. Do you have the ability to bestow a god-level spirit ring upon me, just like a spirit beast? Qian Yu thought of the operations of Electrolux and Tianmeng Iceworm 10,000 years later, and he felt it was worth a try. This, I need to research it for a while. When Qian Renxue said this, she had absolutely no confidence. Her so-called god status was actually just that, in terms of true level. All right then, I'll give you some time to research it. Let's change our residence at daybreak. Qian Yu had gained a new understanding of just how unreliable this person was. After thinking it over repeatedly, Qian Yu finally proposed moving to Heaven Du City. Since there were risks everywhere, he might as well play the darkness under the lamp strategy. At daybreak, under the disguise of Qian Renxue's angel head bone, the four of them quickly settled down in a small noble's manor in Heaven Du City. As for that small noble, he was naturally dead and had been completely replaced. Next, they kept a low profile. Unknowingly, 3 months passed. During these 3 months, apart from cultivating, whenever Qian Yu had free time, he would go shopping with the maid LV Zhu. It was as if they were not in the enemy's lair, but in their own home. In the process, Qian Yu gathered a lot of information. For example, in half a month, the Heaven Du Empire and the Star Luo Empire would sign a 100-year non-aggression treaty, and the sea god Tang San would be present to notarize it. Another example was that in 1 year, Shrek Academy would hold its first large-scale public enrollment. Besides that, there were some rumors that the Clear Sky sect was taking the lead in planning to re-rank the upper 3 sects and the lower 4 sects. The Divine Master Yu Xiaorogang would publicly explain how the sea god grew up under his guidance. Of course, besides these, Qian Yu also inquired about information regarding Tang San and his group. It was said that Tang San would ascend to the God Realm in 1 month, and the Clear Sky sect was even holding a grand meeting for this, allowing major powers to go and observe. Qian Yu knew that once Tang San left, it might take several years, or even over a decade, for him to return to the Douluo Continent, as 1 day in the God Realm was 1 year on the Douluo Continent. When he returned to the Douluo Continent again, his strength would be even greater, and he would also bring back divinity legacies for the rest of the Shrek 7 devils. By that time, the opponents would be even more powerful. However, this was also an opportunity. As long as Tang San was not on the Douluo Continent, many things could be done without being so constrained. How is the research going? After returning to their residence, Qian Yu immediately found Qian Renxue to ask. I have some ideas, but I cannot guarantee safety. If there is the slightest mistake, you will very likely drop dead on the spot. Qian Renxue hesitated somewhat. It was truly because this was filled with too many uncertainties. Since you already have ideas, then go and try. If it fails, it's nothing more than death. Qian Yu was quite happy to receive this information. This Qian Renxue was finally of some use. By the way, Tang San will ascend in a month. Take some time to go to the vicinity of the Clear Sky sect alone and see him off. Qian Yu thought for a moment before bringing this matter up. What did you say? You want me to go see Tang San off? Hearing Qian Yu say this, Qian Renxue was instantly enraged. She always felt that Qian Yu was humiliating her. I didn't say let you actually see him off. I just want you to circle around the Clear Sky sect, so Tang San is sure you are still alive. Behaving yourself and not causing trouble. If you disappear completely and hide, how can he be at ease? If he doesn't confirm your situation, how can he ascend to the God Realm with peace of mind? Qian Yu rolled his eyes at Qian Renxue, as if he were looking at an idiot. Chapter 3, Forcing Hu Liena to swear a poisonous oath. What you say makes sense. In the end, Qian Renxue did not refute anything further. It was truly impossible to refute. Qian Yu returned to his room and continued to circulate the angel meditation method to cultivate. Up until now, he had not yet obtained a single spirit ring, all for the sake of waiting until Qian Renxue sacrificed her power to him, so he could obtain a spirit ring of a higher age. Half a month later, Qian Renxue quietly left Heaven Du City and circled around the vicinity of the Clear Sky sect. She watched helplessly in the crowd as Tang San ascended to the God Realm. Tang San, is this your true face? Before coming here, she still held some fantasies about Tang San. But after truly seeing Tang San again, her heart was filled only with endless sorrow. Just as Qian Yu had said, Tang San was not as magnanimous as he appeared on the surface. Although she was currently only a spirit Douluo, her mental force had broken through to the divine rank, allowing her to perceive some of Tang San's emotional changes, although they were very faint, she already had her answer. After disguising herself again, she returned to Heaven-Du City. Qian Renxue brought Qian Yu and Hu Liena to a cave within the Stardew Great Forest. Next, I will use the angelic sacred sword to stir the remaining divine force within the angel temple to help your spirit evolve into a seraphim, and at the same time, I will bestow upon you 20 levels of innate spirit power. This step is relatively easy, not difficult, and the process will not be painful. After the spirit successfully evolves, I will grant you a second martial soul, developing it as much as possible in the direction of the angelic sacred sword so that in the future, it can better harmonize with the divine artifact, the angelic sacred sword. I do not have a 100% guarantee for this process. There is only one chance. Regardless of success or failure, I will immediately sacrifice everything to you, enhancing your physique and mental force as much as possible, and the angel set will also be fused into your body. Qian Renxue detailed her plan and specific operations. Things had reached this point, and she no longer had any thoughts of turning back. There was one thing she did not explain to Qian Yu. She could not guarantee whether, after completing this series of actions, she would still be able to retain the last trace of her divine soul to fuse into the angelic sacred sword. Presumably, even if she told him, Qian Yu would not care. From her contact with him during this period, she could tell that Qian Yu was very disappointed in her. Wait a moment. Qian Yu did not immediately agree to let Qian Renxue sacrifice herself, but instead looked at Hu Liena, who was to the side. Is there anything I can do in this? Hu Liena looked at Qian Yu with some confusion. She was only a level 75 spirit saint. Even if she wanted to provide some help, she could not. Given your past record before we act, you must first take an oath with your spirit. If you leak any information about this matter, your spirit will immediately shatter, and you will die, falling forever into an endless abyss, trapped for eternity in the filthiest, ugliest place. Qian Yu's expression was unprecedentedly serious. If it were not for the fact that after Qian Renxue transferred her power to him, he would need someone with sufficient strength by his side to act as a protector while he grew up, he would have preferred to have Qian Renxue kill Hu Liena first before proceeding with the power transfer sacrifice. The underlying logic of the Douluo Continent, where love-struck brains are truly terrifying, meant he had to be on guard. Hearing Qian Yu force her to take such an oath, Hu Liena was instantly enraged. She subconsciously wanted to reveal her spirit, but was suppressed by Qian Renxue, who was by her side. Liena, take the oath. At this moment, Qian Renxue was exceptionally calm and clear-headed. This was their only chance, a very slim chance. To get revenge, there could not be any mistakes. I, Hu Liena, hereby take an oath, using my charming fox spirit as the soul, my own spirit bone as the contract, and my lifelong spirit power as the offering. If I use any means to reveal any information related to this place, let me fall forever into the filthiest, ugliest place in the world. If I violate this, may my spirit be completely destroyed, my spirit bone shatter, and may I suffer the pain of 10,000 foxes gnawing at my heart for eternity, never to be reincarnated. Heaven and earth are the witnesses, my spirit is the proof. If I violate this oath, may my divine soul be utterly destroyed. Under Qian Renxue's persuasion, Hu Liena swore what she considered to be the most vicious oath. Being forced to do such things, Hu Liena was still very unhappy, so she left the cave to act as a protector outside. She also did not want to see the scene of Qian Renxue completely dissipating later. Let's begin. Only then did Qian Yu look at Qian Renxue. Avenge me, avenge my mother, avenge my grandfather, and avenge all the elder grandfathers of Spirit Hall. Qian Yu, from this day on, everything I have belongs to you. I, Qian Renxue, in the name of the former angel god, bestow upon you a god-given spirit, seraphim, with 20 levels of innate spirit power. As Qian Renxue used the angelic sacred sword as a medium to guide the divine force within the angel temple into Qian Yu's body, Qian Yu himself began to transform rapidly. At the same time, at the location of the former Spirit Hall, where a Shrek Academy was currently being built, a golden palace appeared, emitting a brilliant, sacred light. This is the statue of the angel god. Quickly notify the Clear Sky sect and say that the remnants of Spirit Hall are causing trouble. Flender, who was supervising the construction of Shrek Academy, saw this scene and hurriedly sent someone to notify the Clear Sky sect. Although he did not understand what it meant, his intuition told him that there must be something fishy about it. Their Shrek Academy was on the verge of taking off, and absolutely nothing could go wrong at this critical moment. Before the titled Douluo from the Clear Sky sect could arrive, that golden temple dimmed, as if it had completely lost its power, and then dissipated into thin air. Meanwhile, on the other side, Qian Yu opened his eyes. His spirit had already evolved into a seraphim with 20 levels of innate spirit power. I used my last bit of strength to hide the angel temple. Although it cannot completely deceive Tang San, it will not be that simple for him to find it. Once your strength is sufficient, you can use the angelic sacred sword to go and open the angel temple. Next is to grant you a second martial soul. The process will be a bit painful, you must endure it. I am coming in. As Qian Renxue's words fell, both the spirit power and divine force within her body surged into Qian Yu's body. At the same time, she multitasked, constructing the second martial soul for Qian Yu. Although she did not understand why Qian Yu wanted his second martial soul to be a tool spirit, she did as he asked. This process was destined to be filled with pain, but for Qian Yu, who had already anticipated it, it was still bearable. Fortunately, no accidents occurred during the process. The intense pain lasted for a full 2 months. When Qian Yu opened his eyes again, he was the only one left in the cave. As for Qian Renxue, she had completely disappeared. Chapter 4 Target Mysterious Heaven Skill. Did it succeed? Qian Yu whispered softly while activating his spirit. Immediately after, the seraphim appeared. Putting away the seraphim, he sensed his own condition once again. The next moment, a longsword radiating red-gold light appeared in his hand. The god-bestowed tool spirit, Blazing Sun Sacred Sword. That's not right. Qian Yu quickly discovered something unusual. On the Blazing Sun Sacred Sword spirit held in his right hand, there was a spirit ring, a golden spirit ring. It was the god-level spirit ring left after Qian Renxue's sacrifice. What surprised Qian Yu was that Qian Renxue's final divine soul did not merge into the divine artifact Angelic Sacred Sword, but instead merged into his own spirit, the Blazing Sun Sacred Sword. Because his mind was connected to his spirit, he could clearly feel Qian Renxue's current state. Only a wisp of her remnant soul remained, still in a deep slumber. Saying that Qian Renxue had merged into the Blazing Sun's sacred sword was not entirely accurate. To be precise, Qian Renxue had merged into the god-level spirit ring of the Blazing Sun's sacred sword. Evidently, there had been some unexpected issues in the final step. Fortunately, everything he had sought had succeeded. Qian Yu carefully sensed all the changes within himself. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. The six-winged angel martial soul came with the angelic domain. Once the domain was expanded, it could cover an area of several thousand square meters in the air. Within this range, he was the absolute dominator. The angelic domain allowed him to become an incarnation of illusion, boosting his own strength by 30%, weakening enemies by 10%, and also allowing him to bestow the domain's power upon teammates. The domain possessed an inherent purification ability, which could continuously weaken the enemy's spirit power and sensory abilities. It could also fix enemies in the center of the domain. Even if they used teleportation, they would only be running in place. This was a domain that an owner of the angel martial soul should only be able to fully activate upon reaching the spirit saint realm. Yet, he had fully mastered the angelic domain after obtaining only his first spirit ring. Clearly, this was due to Qian Renxue's sacrifice. The Blazing Sun Sacred Sword Spirit also carried the prototype of a domain, but it had not been fully activated. The first spirit ring bestowed upon him by Qian Renxue only had 2 spirit abilities. Or rather, it would be more appropriate to call them 2 divine skills, one offensive and one defensive. They were Angelic Judgment and Angelic Shield, respectively. Angelic Judgment, one of the profound truths of the angel god, was condensed from the sacred fire of light and possessed terrifying lethality. When unleashed, it would manifest an identical golden angelic phantom, and a massive golden beam of light, condensed from the judgment light released by the sun, would descend from the sky to attack the enemy. Under the illumination of this scorching light, the enemy's movements would become extremely sluggish, and the spirit power within their bodies would dissipate rapidly, like ice and snow melting. Angelic Shield condensed a faint layer of golden flowing light to form a strange barrier, protecting himself and everything within its coverage. This was a rule-based divine skill, capable of defending against any form of attack. Even a divinity would need to rely on a divine artifact to break through this defense. Both spirit abilities were very powerful and heaven-defying, but the problem was that with his current spirit power, he couldn't even sustain them for 1 second once activated. Besides that, his other gains included a full set of spirit bones, the angelic suit. When Qian Renxue inherited them, the initial age of each spirit bone was 99,999 years, just a hair's breadth away from reaching 100,000 years. When all 6 were activated simultaneously, they could be upgraded to 100,000 years. After she inherited the god position of the angel god, the spirit bones transformed into the angelic holy armor, a divine rank armor. Although she had lost her god position, these 6 spirit bones did not drop in quality. They were authentic divine rank spirit bones. The only thing he couldn't do was fuse them into the angelic holy armor, given Qian Yu's current strength. Other than that, the spirit abilities of the spirit bones could all be used. With a full set of divine rank spirit bones, combined with the sacrifice of Qian Renxue's divine force, Qian Yu, who was only over 6 years old, had his physical constitution completely maximized. With the protection of the angel head bone, he was fully capable of absorbing a 10,000-year first spirit ring. Such a starting point was unprecedented. As for his own spirit power rank, since he hadn't obtained a second spirit ring yet, it was impossible to determine, but he could be certain that it would definitely not be low. Even the angelic suit was passed down so early, yet they claim there's nothing fishy about the angel god's legacy. Who are they trying to fool? After Qian Yu finished sensing all his power, a golden cold glint appeared in his eyes. Once he stepped onto this path, there was absolutely no turning back. Immediately after, Qian Yu put away the storage spirit tool and the angelic sacred sword left behind by Qian Renxue and walked out of the cave. Is there still hope for her to be resurrected? Huliena had been guarding outside the cave. Seeing only Qian Yu walk out, a dim look appeared in her eyes. She is still in a deep slumber for now. Once my strength improves a bit, she might be able to wake up. With Qian Renxue no longer by his side, his tone was relatively softer when facing Huliena. After all, he still needed to make her work like a beast of burden for the time being. That's good. What do you plan to do next? Without Qian Renxue, Huliena had completely lost her backbone, and thus she absurdly asked a 6-year-old child. Let's not rush to hunt for spirits yet. I will wait for this body to fuse with the divine force and spirit bones for a while longer, then come back to hunt for a higher age spirit ring. During this time, let's not just sit around, accompany me out to sea. Long before deciding to take this path, Qian Yu had already started making plans. The gap between him and Tang San was not just a gap in god position, but also the Tang sect's secret skills that Tang San possessed. The most crucial among them were the mysterious heaven skill and the purple demon eye. Things like the purple demon eye and mysterious jade hand could be obtained now that the Tang sect was about to be established. But the authentic mysterious heaven skill was not even possessed by their entire Tang sect. In this era, only one person knew it. Tang San's personal disciple, Jixiang. Calculating the time, Jixiang should be around the Spirit Emperor cultivation level now. Even if the Tang sect's secret skills he cultivated could counter Huliena, with Huliena's Spirit Saint cultivation, she should still be able to defeat him. Furthermore, he would be there to assist. Although he couldn't use his divine skills for the time being, he could expand the angelic domain to assist from the sidelines. The only thing to worry about was the fear of coming up empty-handed. He remembered that Tang San not only bestowed the Sea God mark upon Jixiang, allowing him to enter and leave Sea God Island freely. If he stayed on Sea God Island the whole time, it would indeed be difficult to make a move. Regardless, he had to try. This guy possessed all of Tang San's true Tang sect legacy. One had to know that Tang San used the mysterious heaven skill all the way to the God King realm, which was enough to show its extraordinary nature. As for why the core cultivation technique of an assassin sect would be from the Dao sect, who knows? It took a full month and a half for Qian Yu and Hu Liena to find Pearl Island, where Zai Zhenju was located, after inquiring everywhere. Relying on the concealment and disguise of the angel head bone, the two of them easily blended into the island. Their luck was quite good. They encountered Jixiang as soon as they arrived at Pearl Island. Chapter 5 Tang Sect Secret Techniques Easily Obtained. Much as Qian Yu had guessed before, Jixiang had just achieved a breakthrough to the realm of Spirit Emperor. He is a good person, traveling everywhere to practice medicine and help others. Do we really have to make a move against him? After stepping onto the island and learning about Jixiang, Hu Liena felt somewhat reluctant. There was truly no reason for it. She simply could not understand why Qian Yu had spent so much effort and time coming here to find someone completely unrelated. What Hu Liena understood least of all was how Qian Yu knew about all of this. No way, since when did you, Hu Liena, become so kind? In Slaughter City, how many spirit masters died at your hands? What, after being swindled by Tang San, have you also learned his hypocritical theories? Seeing Hu Liena about to have another episode, Qian Yu did not hold back his sarcasm at all. Now, having fully accepted the gift from Qian Renxue, he had the corresponding confidence and was truly not afraid of Hu Liena killing him in a fit of rage. As for whether using such despicable methods would affect his state of mind and prevent him from advancing further after reaching titled Douluo, Qian Yu thought that was a joke. On the path of cultivation in Douluo Continent, what kind of state of mind is there to speak of? As long as one has enough power, any bottleneck can be overcome by piling up resources. Even the state of mind issues in the gods' trial, aren't they all set arbitrarily by the divinity themselves? They say that after reaching level 95 titled Douluo, if one's state of mind does not match one's spirit, it is very difficult to achieve a breakthrough. Pure nonsense. Not to mention anything else, just fuse 6,100,000 year spirit bones and see if you can achieve a breakthrough. If you still can't break through, it just means you don't have enough energy. How did Yan Shaoge break through 10,000 years later? Wasn't it by relying on Hu Yuhao's medicinal pill? There is no such thing as a state of mind. Even if it really existed, it wouldn't matter. He was determined to become a divinity. A divinity loves all people, not just one specific person. His love is great love, a love without emotion. Everything he does is just to sacrifice a small part to fulfill the majority. If that doesn't work, he can just self-PUA and give himself a mental imprint. He simply didn't believe that there would be any state of mind issues. It is my fault. I will try my best to adjust my mindset. After being fiercely scolded by Qian Yu, Hu Liena actually began to think seriously and apologized to Qian Yu very sincerely. But the problem is, how are we going to deal with him? Not to mention that Jixiang himself is a spirit emperor, that Zai Zhenju on the island is a spirit Douluo. It is said that Zai Zhenju takes great care of Jixiang. After apologizing, Hu Liena began to think seriously about how to make a move. She racked her brains but couldn't think of any way to achieve her goal. Seeing Hu Liena like this, Qian Yu finally understood why Spirit Hall had lost so miserably. Why even a plan to sneak attack provisions could be called a brilliant strategy. With people like this in Spirit Hall, their loss was not unjust. However, this time he did not discourage Hu Liena. Being willing to use one's brain was better than not using it at all. After a long time, while Hu Liena was still scratching her head, Qian Yu could not help but break the silence, telling her not to waste any more brain cells. Is it that difficult? Time, location, and human factors, you can achieve your goal by leveraging just one of them. When we arrived on the islanders said that a powerful storm would strike in a few days. In the face of such a natural disaster, what does a spirit Douluo count for? When the storm arrives, you or I can just pretend to be sick. Since Jixiang is kind-hearted, just ask him to come and treat us. After he arrives, sneak attack him, knock him unconscious, and put him into a spirit tool capable of storing living creatures. Then just pretend nothing happened. Even if something unexpected happens, we can just disguise ourselves with another identity. Of course, if you think this plan is troublesome, we can try a more extreme one. figure out the terrain of this island, try to sabotage it, and let most of the people on the island die in the storm. In such a chaotic situation, no one will suspect us in the short term, and we can easily do what we want to do. After listening to Qian Yu, Huliena was stunned in shock. Especially when looking at Qian Yu, who still had a tender, cute, and delicate face like a porcelain doll. If she hadn't heard it with her own ears, she would never have believed that these words came from Qian Yu's mouth. Killing through conspiracies and killing under the guise of righteousness are both killing. There is no need to give oneself a slogan about saving the world or acting for the sake of the greater good, unless I need to do so when the time comes. Therefore, in this regard, none of you are as good as Tang San. After saying this, Qian Yu ignored Huliena and continued to practice his meditation technique. With the fusion of the divine rank spirit bone and the divine force, Qian Yu could clearly feel that both his mental force and physical body were improving rapidly every day. Perhaps his angel martial soul's first spirit ring could challenge one around 30,000 years. Huliena pondered alone for a long time, and without knowing what kind of mental journey she went through, she finally figured it out. Unknowingly, her spirit power, which had been stagnant for a long time, quietly achieved a breakthrough, advancing to level 76. For the next few days, both of them worked hard to cultivate, quietly waiting for the right timing. Fortunately, they did not have to wait too long. 7 days later, the storm arrived as scheduled. Qian Yu did not choose to participate in the ambush of Jixiang. Furthermore, before the planned action began, he deliberately stayed away from Huliena. Naturally, this was for precaution. Jixiang had the sea god's mark bestowed upon him by Tang San, who knew if there were any contingency plans. If any accidents really occurred, letting Huliena take the hit would be fine. On Huliena's side, she easily got Jixiang to take the bait. She didn't immediately make a move on Jixiang, but instead first checked his spirit tool. Soon, Huliena found what she wanted from Jixiang's spirit tool. This was a complete and unexpected surprise. After hesitating for a moment, Huliena put Jixiang into a spirit tool capable of storing living creatures, intending to ask Qian Yu later how to deal with him. After confirming that no one had discovered them, Huliena found Qian Yu and handed him the book she had obtained from Jixiang's storage spirit tool. Mysterious Heaven Skill, Purple Demon Eye, Mysterious Jade Hand, Poison Chapter, Human Body Acupuncture Point Chart, they really are all here. When he saw that the Mysterious Heaven Skill in the book recorded by Jixiang contained the 8 extraordinary meridians, Qian Yu knew this was the authentic Mysterious Heaven Skill, not the abridged version circulated within the Tang sect. Do you want to kill that Jixiang? Seeing that Qian Yu had obtained what he wanted, Huliena knew that the dirty work ahead should be handled by her. When she said this, she was somewhat eager to act. Qian Yu looked at Huliena in surprise. Could it be that he had scolded her too harshly, causing her to shift from one extreme to another? Chapter 6: The Goal of Spirit Hunting. However, Qian Yu did not intervene in this matter. He felt that Huliena moving towards the extreme was actually a good thing. Perhaps she could even use this to improve her strength. Throw him into the sea. After a moment of contemplation, Qian Yu did not choose to kill Jixiang. It was not that he was overly kind-hearted, but rather that the risk was too great. This guy had the sea god mark from that dog Tang San. If he killed him and Tang San noticed, that would be bad. For now, it was better to lie low and develop. Anyway, he had already obtained what he wanted. Rest assured, I will definitely not leave any traces. Huliena did not say anything, but inwardly she was complaining that this Qian Yu was indeed a bit perverted. In this weather, throwing a person who was unconscious into the sea was pure torture. Wouldn't it be better to just kill him? However, she had promised Qian Renxue that she would assist this kid with all her might. Since she had promised, she naturally would not go back on her word. Moreover, she also knew that her brain was not as good as this kid's. After Huliena returned from throwing Jixiang into the sea, Qian Yu had already started trying to cultivate the Mysterious Heaven Skill. Although it was a bit difficult to get started, after trying a few more times, and with the foundation of practicing meditation, it took him half a day to finally succeed in getting started. It had to be said, this Mysterious Heaven Skill was truly quite profound. Its cultivation speed far exceeded the angel meditation method, and most importantly, in the process of cultivation, it constantly nourished his own meridians, refined the residual divine force within his body, converted it into spirit power, and strengthened his own foundation. After completely learning and mastering it, Qian Yu did not hide it. After making Hu Liena swear an oath again, he taught everything to her. This cultivation technique, this purple demon eye. After trying to cultivate it, Hu Liena was completely shocked. If she had had this cultivation technique when she first had her spirit awakening, she might already be a titled Douluo by now. I can be certain that the Clear Sky sect does not have such a legacy. Where did Tang San obtain it? Could it be that he created it himself? How did you come to know all of this? Hu Liena really could not suppress her curiosity and could not help but ask. Tang San, just based on his ability to create this cultivation technique, let alone this life, it is impossible in the next life. As for how I came to know, I advise you best not to ask. To ask is to have already embarked on the path to death. Qian Yu looked coldly at Hu Liena. In fact, he was thinking about one thing in his heart. He had previously practiced the angel meditation method, and now that he had successfully switched to cultivating the mysterious heaven skill. This meant that what Tang San had told Dai Mubai about not being able to switch cultivation techniques was pure nonsense. What he was more curious about was, since Jixiang possessed the complete version of the mysterious heaven skill, why did it no longer exist 10,000 years later? Was the cultivation technique lost in the process, or was it done intentionally by someone? Qian Yu felt that there were too many thought-provoking things in this. After successfully mastering the mysterious heaven skill, he began to study other things. It was necessary to cultivate the purple demon eye. As a transmigration, his mental force was naturally strong, and coupled with Qian Renxue's sacrifice and the divine rank head spirit bone, it was not difficult for him to cultivate it. Unknowingly, another half a month passed. The storm finally stopped. Zai Zhenju also noticed that Jixiang had gone missing and hurriedly sent people to search. Qian Yu and Hu Liena disguised themselves among the searching crowd, found an opportunity to leave the island, and returned to the Douluo Continent. Came quietly, left quietly. The harvest was bountiful. Besides you and Qian Renxue, are there no other trusted experts left alive in Spirit Hall? On the way back to the Douluo Continent, Qian Yu could not help but ask. Ultimately, he felt that Hu Liena's cultivation level was too weak. Not to mention helping him hunt spirits. If Hu Liena were lucky enough to break through to the spirit Douluo realm with their strength, how could they hunt high-age spirit beasts? At that time, would he really have to let her just pick any 10,000-year spirit beast as a spirit ring? Hu Liena's spirit was still too lacking in damage. My brother and Yan might still be alive. As for the titled Douluo, Qian Renxue once told me that Snake Lance Douluo and Porcupinefish Douluo might still be alive, but their injuries are very serious, and whether they have become prisoners, I am not sure. Mentioning this, Hu Liena's mood became low. These days, the reason she kept looking for Qian Yu from time to time, and getting in front of him to let him scold her, was ultimately because she wanted him to scold her awake. It had to be said, it really had some effect. After helping me hunt for spirit rings, try every possible way to contact Zai Yu and Yan. As for Snake Lance Douluo and Porcupinefish Douluo, if you can find them, then find them. If you can't, then don't force it. I will find a way to find a safe place for us. Qian Yu pondered for a while and felt that these few people could still be trusted, especially Zai Yu and Yan. As for Snake Lance and Porcupinefish, having once been Qian Renxue's personal bodyguards, and having participated in the infiltration of the Heaven Du Palace coup, they could not be forgiven by those people just by bowing their heads and living in submission. They had no choice. Do you have any targets for your first spirit ring? Upon learning that Qian Yu was finally going to hunt spirits, Hu Liena also came out of her low mood. She also wanted to see how this little guy, who could make Qian Renxue sacrifice everything, would be able to turn the tables against the wind. Bright White Tiger, Golden Earth Dragon King, Blazing Lion, Sacred Unicorn, Sacred Golden Beetle are all fine. The first spirit ring age must be 30,000 years, and for the second spirit ring, I want to try 50,000 years. Qian Yu decided to absorb spirit beasts of such age not because he was courting death. It was truly because his current configuration was completely worth such a risk. You have to know, the angel god had no more divine force to give him, and the spirit ring age could not be increased through God's trial or anything else, so naturally, he had to accumulate a deeper foundation. That, I don't have enough confidence to kill any of the spirit beasts you mentioned alone. Mentioning this point, Juliana only felt ashamed and embarrassed. No way. You are a spirit saint realm expert, you possess the slaughter god domain, and you have 2 10,000-year spirit bones and 1 external spirit bone on you, yet you can't deal with a 30,000-year spirit beast. This time Qian Yu was truly surprised. Although the spirit beasts he selected were all very powerful, for Juliana it shouldn't be difficult, right? Her configuration was top-notch, and she also possessed means such as domain and external spirit bone. I will try my best. Juliana seemed to be cheering herself up, and finally gave a reply. Until this moment, Qian Yu finally saw it completely. Juliana had completely lost her spirit. In her current situation, if she were made to face those powerful spirit beasts, it was really possible that an accident would occur. She was the only pawn by his side, so she really couldn't die for now. Let's not hunt spirits for now. I will give you some things first. Take them with you for self-defense when you go to hunt spirits. Qian Yu had no choice but to think of another way. Chapter 7: Disenchanting Juliana. Given Juliana's strength and various configurations, dealing with a 30,000-year spirit beast is quite easy, but killing it would be very strenuous. After all, her spirit is not of the attack system, so it lacks lethality. Under current conditions, the only method Qian Yu can think of is gunpowder. Making this stuff isn't difficult. What's difficult is controlling the proportions, granulating it, and ensuring stability. However, he won't be the one using it, so he just needs to make it as powerful as possible. The two stopped at a city near the coast, and Qian Yu began collecting materials to tinker with. During this process, he also collected as much 10,000-year whale glue as possible. Although this stuff is negligible for him, it is very useful for others. Especially for the former golden generation of Spirit Hall. If he remembers correctly, Zai Yu and Juliana both had their life force devoured by Tang, Sun using his external spirit bone, the 8 spider lances. This will be the biggest obstacle for them to break through to the titled Douluo realm. Besides enhancing physique, whale glue can also replenish deficiencies. Especially high-quality 10,000-year whale glue, which has even better effects. Even in this era, the effects of whale glue haven't been fully developed, yet the price remains extremely expensive. There's no help for it, anything related to spirit masters or virility is never cheap. Fortunately, although they are currently down on their luck, it is only relative, they aren't truly lacking in money. Not to mention his looting from home and the Angel Legion treasury, just Qian Renxue's spirit tool storage ring contains a vast amount of wealth and numerous treasures. Purchasing enough 10,000-year whale glue is quite easy. These days, although 10,000-year whale glue is rare and precious, most of it is used as decoration and rarely sells. After all, ordinary spirit masters cannot withstand the side effects of 10,000-year whale glue, and there aren't many powerful spirit masters who are actually weak. In this city, he harvested a full 5 pieces of 10,000-year whale glue from various shops. The one with the highest age was a piece of whale glue from a 60,000-year evil orca. Why are you buying so much whale glue? Juliana found that she was becoming increasingly unable to understand what Qian Yu was doing. You'll know when we get back. Qian Yu didn't explain much. He had Juliana buy another piece of 10,000-year whale glue, then planned to find a hotel to stay in for the time being. Circulate your spirit power to soften it. Qian Yu handed a piece of 10,000-year whale glue to Juliana. Although she didn't understand what Qian Yu was doing, she complied. As the whale glue softened, Qian Yu suppressed his nausea, swallowed it, and then began to meditate. After a long while, he opened his eyes. Just as he had guessed, after Qian Renxue's sacrifice and the transformation from the complete set of divine rank spirit bones, his physique was already approaching perfection. Even 10,000-year whale glue had a negligible effect. Take this piece of whale glue first. After you personally feel the changes in your body, I will explain the reason to you. Qian Yu gave that piece of 60,000-year evil orca whale glue to Huliena. Do I really have to take it? Looking at the whale glue handed to her, Huliena was somewhat uncomfortable. She knew what the purpose of this whale glue was. If not for the fact that Qian Yu still looked like a 6-year-old child, she might have overthought it. In the end, she followed Qian Yu's instructions, softened the whale glue, and consumed it. Judging by everything that had happened recently, although Qian Yu's attitude toward her was terrible, and he was quite arrogant, every single thing he did had a deeper meaning. Huliena consumed the whale glue. Forcing herself not to think too much, and suppressing the restlessness in her heart. It wasn't until the next morning that she opened her eyes. What happened to me? Clenching her fair, delicate fist, and feeling the increase in her physical strength, Huliena was shocked. This whale glue actually had such an effect. But this wasn't the key point. After consuming the whale glue, she could clearly feel that the deficiency she had lost at some unknown time had been partially replenished. Even the circulation of her spirit power had become a bit smoother. She knew that she had just break through to level 76 not long ago, but Huliena could clearly feel that it might not be long before she would break through again. Besides the effects of the whale glue, there was also the factor of that mysterious heaven skill. Do you still remember when you and Ziyu were poisoned during the Spirit Master tournament, and Tang San used the 8 spider lances to detoxify you and Ziyu? Let me remind you, Tang San's external spirit bone, the 8 spider lances, possesses the ability to devour. Qian Yu watched the stunned Huliena and reminded her softly. Although Huliena had already sworn an oath, Qian Yu still didn't trust her. Ultimately, the underlying logic of the Douluo Continent is that being love-struck is just too powerful. He wasn't asking to completely cure Huliena's love-struck state. He only hoped that she would disenchant herself from Tang San as much as possible, at least until he could grow up before Tang San returned to the Douluo Continent. Are you saying that Tang San did something to me and my brother? Upon hearing this, Huliena's expression turned from shock to a grim and ugly look. No wonder that among the group, her innate spirit power was the highest, and the resources her teacher invested in her were the greatest, yet her speed of cultivate later fell a step behind Yan. She knew that before the Spirit Master tournament, her speed of cultivate was the fastest. Although Yan's spirit was stronger than hers and her brother's, his speed of cultivate was not as good as hers, and even if her brother's speed of cultivate was relatively slower, he wouldn't have been left so far behind by Yan. If she remembered correctly, when the final battle began, Yan was already about to become a spirit Douluo, while she and her brother were still only spirit saints. So that's how it is. Not knowing what she had thought of, Huliena was unable to control her tears, letting them stream down her cheeks. Stop being so sentimental. Take this spirit bone and perform fusion to improve your strength. I'm going to work on some things for a while, so don't bother me. Seeing Huliena like this, Qian Yu knew that Tang San's perfect image in her heart had shattered. He immediately tossed a 50,000-year right leg bone to Huliena. This spirit bone was naturally found in Qian Renxue's spirit tool storage ring. As for why she left it in the storage ring to gather dust instead of taking it out to improve their side's combat power, he couldn't be bothered to think too much about it. If Qian Renxue had a normal brain, she wouldn't have been defeated. This is for me. Not yet having recovered from her sorrow, she saw the spirit bone placed before her eyes. Huliena was simultaneously shocked and overjoyed. Qian Yu ignored Huliena and returned to his room to start researching gunpowder. Chapter 8: Sacred Golden Beetle. In the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. After successfully fusing with the spirit bone, Huliena's strength increased from level 76 to level 79. A 50,000-year-old right leg bone had allowed her to increase her spirit power by 3 levels within the spirit saint realm. Clearly, the quality of this 10,000-year spirit bone was quite good. Qian Yu had also produced gunpowder and even used egg whites to granulate it. As for its specific destructive power, it still needed to be tested. How is the information you've been gathering lately? Qian Yu came to Huliena's room and asked straight to the point. He couldn't let Hu Liena be idle while he was busy. Besides having her focus on Cultivate, he also had her scout for information, searching for the spirit beast he needed, as well as personnel from the former spirit hall. The activity range of one of the target spirit beast you need has already been determined. As for the information on the spirit hall personnel, I have indeed gathered some. The former vice-captain of the Spirit Hall's Angel Legion is still alive. He led some of the Angel Legion members to defect to the Heaven Du Empire. It is said that they used a woman with a two-winged angel martial soul as a bargaining chip to beg the Heaven Du Emperor Xu Beng to give them a piece of land to survive on. Hu Liena told Qian Yu the information she had gathered. The vice-captain Qian Guhong, a level 87 spirit Douluo. He is still alive. This matter was indeed something Qian Yu had not expected. Because this vice-captain Qian Guhong was the father of his predecessor. Do not contact them for the time being. Qian Yu pondered for a while and ultimately decided not to make use of this power. They had managed to survive by trading away their dignity and everything else. If they were to be placed in danger again because of his intervention, it would not be worth the loss. Having occupied someone else's body and used the convenience brought by that person's identity, he still had to acknowledge this debt. However, now was not the time to repay favors. All right, let's go hunt for spirits first. After the spirit hunt is over, you can find a way to search for Yan and Zai Yue. Qian Yu felt that this first spirit ring had been delayed for too long. It had been nearly half a year since his awakening. Hu Liena had no objections to this. After fusing with the 50,000-year-old right leg bone, not only had her spirit power increased, but her combat strength had also grown stronger. Now she also had more confidence. Afterward, Qian Yu demonstrated the explosive power of the gunpowder, which gave Hu Liena even more confidence. The target he was hunting for his first spirit ring was the sacred golden beetle, a spirit beast with maxed out base stats. Whether it was speed, strength, or defensive power, it was all truly astonishing. Possessing twin spirits, he had absolutely no need to worry about not having enough spirit ability to use. Therefore, he hoped that the first 3 spirit rings hunted for his angel martial soul would all possess amplification effects, especially percentage-based amplification. Of course, it would be even better if he could obtain a rule-based spirit ability. Bibi Dong's eternal torment and undying body were things he was very envious of. Afterward, the two of them followed the direction provided by the spirit hunting team, venturing deep into the Stardew Great Forest toward their target. It must be said, the information they bought was quite reliable. They quickly arrived at their destination, but while the information was reliable, it was perhaps a bit too reliable. Not only was the 29,000-year-old sacred golden beetle they needed here, but there were also 40,000-year-old and 60,000-year-old ones. Among them, the most powerful sacred golden beetle had a strength that was actually approaching 80,000 years. Clearly, this was the nest of the sacred golden beetles. Leave that bomb thing you made with me. I'll find a way to lure out that 29,000-year-old sacred golden beetle. You find a place to hide, and also set up the bombs to protect yourself. Qian Yu had originally thought Hu Liena would shrink back, but to his surprise, her stubborn temper flared up. Even knowing there was danger, she still wanted to take the risk. There was one thing Qian Yu did not know. When Hu Liena was consuming the whale glue in her state of confusion, the person she was thinking of was still Tang San. Strictly speaking, it was not Tang San, but Tang Yin. Perhaps due to paranoia, or perhaps because she had fallen into an extreme state, after Hu Liena woke up and learned that Tang San had taken the life force of her and her brother during the Spirit Master competition, the beautiful image in her heart was further destroyed. Hu Liena had fallen into another extreme. The person she admired was Tang Yin, not Tang San. Tang San was detestable. It was he who destroyed the beauty in her heart. How should one put it? Once a woman goes crazy and becomes completely paranoid, no one can estimate what she might do. The current Hu Liena had evolved to the point where she was determined to destroy Tang San. It was because of him that Tang Yin's perfect image had been destroyed. She knew very well that Tang San had become a god, and that no matter what, she would be unable to take revenge. But this boy, who had made Qian Renxue sacrifice all her power, still had a glimmer of hope. For this glimmer of hope, Qian Renxue was left with only a wisp of a remnant soul. As the former holy maiden of the spirit hall, could she not even deal with a spirit beast that was less than 30,000 years old? She also decided to bet everything. Come back alive. Seeing the determination and madness in Huliena's eyes, Qian Yu knew that Huliena in this state could no longer be stopped. Although he did not know what kind of mental journey the other party had experienced, given the current situation, it was a beneficial thing for him, so why should he stop her? Afterward, Qian Yu left some of the gunpowder behind, and he headed toward the valley where the two had agreed to meet, setting up the gunpowder within the valley. He waited quietly. 2 days later, Huliena returned. Although she was not missing any arms or legs, she was covered in blood. This was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that a nearly 50,000-year-old sacred golden beetle was following behind Huliena. Although that sacred golden beetle was also injured, it was chasing Huliena relentlessly. Did you fail? Looking at the empty-handed Huliena, Qian Yu sighed softly. However, he immediately activated the angelic domain to assist Huliena. Run over at top speed. I am going to start lighting the fuse. After giving Huliena the amplification and estimating the distance between them, Qian Yu found the right moment and began to light the gunpowder he had previously set up. At the same time, his second martial soul, the Blazing Sun Holy Sword, appeared in his hand. Although his current spirit power was insufficient to support him in fully activating this spirit ability, he could still force it for a second or two. If he found the right opportunity, it would be enough to kill it. Hearing Qian Yu's words, Huliena hurriedly used all her strength to sprint rapidly toward the direction where Qian Yu was. Boom! Just at this moment, the gunpowder buried in the valley exploded instantly. And that 50,000-year-old sacred golden beetle was right in the center of the explosion. Huliena had only narrowly escaped dying on the spot. Even so, Huliena was still sent flying directly by the aftermath of the explosion. She slammed heavily onto the ground. Angelic Judgment. Qian Yu hurriedly activated his spirit ability, delivering the final blow to the sacred golden beetle at the center of the explosion. Under normal circumstances, even if it were a god-level spirit ring, once absorbed, any spirit master should be able to activate it with ease. It would merely be a matter of insufficient spirit power preventing the display of overly powerful force. But this spirit ability of his is different from the spirit ring. Once activated, its power is immense. If supported by sufficient spirit power, it could even slaughter a titled Douluo. However, utilizing it also requires a vast amount of spirit power to support it. The key issue lies with Qian Renxue. Evidently, a small error occurred in her operation when she constructed the god-level spirit ring. Coupled with the fact that Qian Renxue's remnant soul resides within, it has added even more uncertainty to this god-level spirit ring. Of course, Qian Yu couldn't be happier to possess such a powerful spirit ring. Why would he fuss over the mistakes within it? But for the current Qian Yu, this might not be a good thing. His spirit power is, after all, too weak. Fortunately, he is still able to borrow the power left behind by Qian Renxue to forcibly activate its power for an instant. A massive holy light sword appeared, slamming heavily onto the body of that sacred golden beetle. Crack! Accompanied by a crisp sound, the sacred golden beetle's defense was shattered, and it lost all resistance. I have to say, this guy's vitality is truly tenacious. Even under such circumstances, it hadn't died on the spot. The problem is, Qian Yu really didn't have the strength to deliver the finishing blow. At this moment, he felt as if his entire body had been hollowed out. I'll recover some spirit power first. Seeing that Huliena hadn't fainted on the spot, Qian Yu felt a measure of relief in his heart. He then quickly circulated the mysterious heaven skill to recover his own spirit power. Although Huliena's own condition was not very good, she did not immediately recover her spirit power, instead waiting quietly on the side. If any accident were to occur at this time, everything they had done before would truly be wasted. The mysterious heaven skill is indeed overbearing. It took less than 2 hours for Qian Yu's state to recover to its peak. Thank you. After his spirit power recovered, Qian Yu saw Huliena still waiting, and he rarely thanked her. Since your spirit power has recovered, go ahead and absorb the spirit ring first. My injuries are of no concern. As Huliena spoke, she retrieved a sacred golden beetle, over a meter tall, from the spirit tool, used for storing living creatures. It was exactly her target, the one that was 29,000 years old. You actually succeeded. Seeing this scene, Qian Yu was surprised. Seeing Huliena empty-handed, he had initially thought she had failed. He hadn't expected that Huliena had actually captured it alive, and even put it into a spirit tool for storing living creatures. This was truly surprising. I am Huliena, the Holy Maiden of Spirit Hall. Seeing a look of shock on Qian Yu's face for the first time, Huliena was clearly very proud. But this smile agitated her internal injuries, and the expression on her face suddenly became ferocious. It looked very eerie. I underestimated you before. Qian Yu apologized to Huliena again. Afterward, under Huliena's guidance, he began to absorb the spirit ring. After all, delays lead to complications, right? As for the sacred golden beetle's powerful defense, no matter how strong it was, could it withstand the edge of the divinity angelic sacred sword. He summoned the divine artifact and then killed it. A pitch-black spirit ring appeared in his line of sight. This was Qian Yu's first time absorbing a spirit ring, and it was a 10,000-year first spirit ring at that. Fortunately, he had an experienced person by his side. Under Huliena's guidance, Qian Yu revealed his spirit and drew in the spirit ring. The next moment, a vast amount of power surged wildly into his body. He finally understood why it was so difficult to absorb an over-limit spirit ring. Once the spirit is used to draw in the spirit ring, the violent power within the spirit ring will surge into the body. There is simply no such thing as taking it slow. It was like a bursting flood. It vented and raged crazily, destroying everything. Fortunately, Qian Yu possessed the entire set of god-level spirit bones. Although this process subjected him to inhuman torture and intense pain, feeling as if he were about to fall apart at any moment, he was still able to persevere. As for the soul shock from the 10,000-year spirit ring, it did indeed exist, but the god-level head spirit bone was able to easily block it. Although the process was agonizing, fortunately, there was no danger. Time passed bit by bit. It took a full day and 2 nights to successfully absorb the first spirit ring. After successfully absorbing the first spirit ring, Qian Yu could clearly feel that his physique had been strengthened, and even his mental force had advanced a step further. I have to say, he finally experienced the power of twin spirits. Each time a spirit ring is absorbed, spirit power increases by a portion, physique becomes stronger by a portion, and even mental force improves with the power of the spirit ring. The difference between a single spirit and twin spirits lies in the loss of 9 opportunities to use the power of spirit rings to improve oneself. The gap between them can be described as heaven and earth. You really succeeded. Seeing the black 10,000-year spirit ring lingering around Qian Yu, Huliena was shocked beyond measure. Although they had long anticipated this result, upon truly seeing it before her, she still couldn't believe her eyes. A 10,000-year first spirit ring. And the 29,000-year kind at that. So heaven-defying, even Tang San couldn't do it right. In an instant, Huliena's eyes immediately became fervent. She saw hope in Qian Yu, the hope to defeat Tang San. If even Qian Yu couldn't do it, then on the entire Douluo Continent, there would be no one else capable of defeating Tang San. Seeing Qian Yu's performance, there was one thing Huliena did not understand at all. Everything Qian Yu possessed, Qian Renxue also possessed. Why didn't Qian Renxue do this? If Qian Renxue had fused the entire set of angelic spirit bones from the beginning and then absorbed the first spirit ring, her strength would certainly have been even greater, and perhaps they wouldn't have been defeated. On this point, Huliena had truly wronged Qian Renxue. Although it could be said that Qian Renxue wasted her talent and lacked true power, the conditions she possessed were really not as good as Qian Yu's. What Qian Renxue originally possessed were only 999-year spirit bones, and furthermore, wanting to absorb them required a gradual process. It was not like Qian Yu, who was directly sacrificed to by Qian Renxue, not only with the entire set of god-level spirit bones, but also a body modified by divine force. For the second spirit ring, which is 50,000 years old, are you confident? Seeing Qian Yu successfully absorb the 29,000-year first spirit ring, Hu Liena could no longer treat him according to common sense. Chapter 10 Holy Wings. What, that 50,000-year sacred golden beetle is still not dead? Hearing Hu Liena say this, Qian Yu was truly very surprised. 2 days had already passed. Even if that spirit beast hadn't died, it should have recovered some strength and escaped by now. During the process of you absorbing the spirit ring, that guy did indeed recover some strength, but every time it recovered a bit of strength, I would strike it, keeping it in a state of serious injury but not death. Hu Liena saw Qian Yu once again reveal an expression of surprise and astonishment, and her heart swelled with pride once more. It had only been a few days, and seeing this cocky kid's surprised expression twice in a row was something unprecedented. How could she not be proud? Thank you. A 50,000-year second spirit ring is also worth a try. As Qian Yu spoke, his eyes were filled with confidence. With his cheat codes, he was far beyond Hu Yuhao from 10,000 years later. During this period, he had full confidence in absorbing a 50,000-year second spirit ring. Subsequently, Qian Yu arrived beside the 50,000-year sacred golden beetle, slew it, and began to absorb its spirit ring. Absorbing a spirit ring was the kind of thing where you were unfamiliar the first time, but skilled the second. He was becoming familiar with the process. The process was indeed very painful, but with divine force protecting his body and a full set of divine rank spirit bone as a foundation, ensuring his body wouldn't collapse, it was just a bit more painful. What else was there that he couldn't endure? Pain, torment, suffering. This time it lasted for 3 full days and nights. Only then did he successfully absorb the second spirit ring. The moment Qian Yu opened his eyes, his entire spirit and energy skyrocketed instantly. A sharp aura surged straight into the clouds. Still unable to obtain a rule-type spirit ability. Withdrawing his sharp aura, Qian Yu felt somewhat regretful. He had done some research regarding the absorption of spirit rings. The spirit ability obtained would be influenced by the subconscious. 2 possessors of the same spirit, one commoner spirit master who had no idea what skill would be obtained from absorbing this spirit ring, and another who had read the data and knew a senior, had obtained the desired spirit ability during the process of absorbing this spirit ring. Consequently, the spirit abilities obtained by the 2 were completely different. The latter, influenced by the subconscious and having a precedent, would involuntarily develop in that direction. The most representative example was the White Tiger lineage of the Star Liu royal family. Why were they able to obtain the spirit ring spirit abilities they wanted according to their thoughts, passed down for many years? It wasn't just because of the spirit beast's compatibility, it also involved primary cognition and psychological suggestion. Of course, psychological suggestion only had some influence and could not change the underlying logical rules. For example, with a white tiger spirit, even if you let it absorb a Datura snake spirit ring, no matter how much psychological suggestion you used, you couldn't obtain the binding skill. This also depended on the compatibility between the spirit and the hunted spirit beast. Therefore, during the process of absorbing the spirit ring, he kept giving himself psychological suggestions, attempting to obtain a rule-type spirit ability. Regrettably, he did not succeed. The 2 spirit abilities he obtained were both of the amplification type. This is. Just as Qian Yu was preparing to check his innate spirit power, he sensed something unusual about his body. Then his face was filled with wild joy. With a thought, he no longer suppressed that unusual feeling, and the next moment, a pair of golden wings, thin as cicada wings, appeared behind him. An external spirit bone. Seeing this scene, both Qian Yu and Hu Liena were shocked. It was precisely because she possessed an external spirit bone that Hu Liena knew how precious this thing was. To a certain extent, the rarity of an external spirit bone was in no way inferior to a 100,000-year spirit bone. After all, it was a growth-type spirit bone. What kind of luck does this guy have? 1 spirit beast and 2 spirit bones appear. Hu Liena clicked her tongue in wonder. The reason she said it was 2 spirit bones was that during the process of Qian Yu absorbing the spirit ring, she had found a 50,000-year head spirit bone on that 50,000-year sacred golden beetle. Now another spirit bone had appeared. And it was an external spirit bone. External spirit bone, holy wings. He slowly closed his eyes, sensing the abilities of this external spirit bone. As some information appeared in his mind, the joy on Qian Yu's face became even more intense. The holy wings had a 100% perfect compatibility with his seraphim spirit. After absorption, they integrated directly into the original 6 wings, without adding extra physical burden, and could be strengthened simultaneously with the spirit ring spirit power as he achieved breakthroughs. Its core attribute was a permanent 100% all-attribute amplification, including but not limited to speed, strength, defense, physical resilience, physical body strength, resistance to abnormal statuses, etc. The spirit bone characteristic was elemental immunity, directly immunizing against 50% of any elemental attack. When facing sacred or light attribute attacks, elemental immunity could reach 70%, and it could even absorb the opponent's power to replenish itself. The spirit bone skill possessed by the holy wings themselves was named Resonance, an auxiliary spirit ability for Cultivate that could increase the possessor's affinity with elemental spirit power, improve Cultivate speed, keep them in the best mimetic Cultivate environment at all times, and also possessed energy storage capabilities. In other words, it was equivalent to carrying a backup hidden energy source with him. This time, the harvest exceeded expectations. Subsequently, Qian Yu controlled his intent, attempting to retract the holy wings into his body. This thing, before it was completely fusion, shouldn't be shown in front of outsiders. Without proficiency, operating it really wasn't simple. During this process, Qian Yu was also secretly observing Hu Liena. If Hu Liena had any greedy thoughts, he would run away immediately. Fortunately, Hu Liena did not have any other ideas. Let's test your spirit power. Seeing that Qian Yu had successfully mastered how to retract and release the external spirit bone, Hu Liena took out a crystal ball for Qian Yu. She was very curious, what realm had Qian Yu's spirit power reached now? Qian Yu himself was also very curious. As he placed his palm on the crystal ball, a suction force came, and the next moment, the crystal ball shone brightly. Spirit power level 30. This result left Hu Liena dumbfounded. Having only obtained 2 spirit rings, his spirit power had already reached level 30. His second spirit ring was already from a 50,000-year spirit beast, so what about the third spirit ring? 70,000 years, 80,000 years, or even a higher age spirit ring. Did he really have the ability to kill one? Let's not obtain a spirit ring for now. I need to properly adapt for a period, and after stabilizing, I will come to obtain a spirit ring again. These words from Qian Yu were naturally an excuse. If he could directly obtain the third spirit ring, why would he continue to wait? As for things like becoming familiar with spirit abilities and stabilizing his cultivation, he could still do that after obtaining the third spirit ring. Ultimately, it was because they didn't have the ability to hunt higher-age spirit rings. It was better to wait until Hu Liena's injuries had healed and they had found Yan and Zai Yu before talking about it. With their current strength, wanting to continue hunting spirits was truly too difficult. All right then. Hearing Qian Yu say this, Hu Liena finally breathed a sigh of relief. Once she relaxed, she completely couldn't hold on anymore and fainted on the spot. It was truly because she had been tensed up for too long during this period. And she also had injuries. Chapter 11. Liu Erlong is pregnant. You've worked hard. Looking at the unconscious Hu Liena before him, Qian Yu stepped forward, picked her up, and whispered softly. He naturally had no designs on Hu Liena. It was more out of gratitude for her risking her life to help him. He admitted that both Qian Renxue and Huliena were idiots, total spendthrifts. But now, all their squandering had ended up benefiting him. One had sacrificed everything, and the other had risked her life to hunt a spirit ring. Anyone with a conscience would have to accept this favor. Before losing consciousness completely, Huliena heard Qian use words in a daze, and the corners of her mouth curled up involuntarily. As expected of Douluo Continent, besides being nicknamed the Continent of Romance, it's also known as the Continent of Hormones. After picking up Huliena, Qian Yu finally realized the changes in his own body. Having absorbed just 2 spirit rings, his height had shot up. At only 6 years old, he was already 1.45 meters tall. Carrying Huliena, Qian Yu did not return to Heaven Du City immediately. Instead, he took her to a small town near Sunset Forest to rest and recover from her injuries. During this period, aside from his daily cultivation of spirit power, Qian Yu spent the rest of his time studying Tang sect techniques. The cultivation of Purple Demon Eye was already on the right track. Relying on his powerful mental force and the divine rank Angel Head Bone, he quickly mastered it with ease. The problem now was the lack of Purple Kai. He had to absorb it punctually every day. Recently, he wanted to try absorbing Sun True Fire directly to cultivate the Purple Demon Eye. For others, this would be extremely dangerous, but for him, possessing the 6-winged angel martial soul and a divine rank head spirit bone, it was worth a try. If he could improve it, the Purple Demon Eye would be even better suited to him. Besides this, he also placed great importance on the mysterious Jade Hand. In the world of Douluo Continent, which featured high attack and low defense, he had never heard of any other technique similar to the body sect's impeccable golden body that appeared 20,000 years later. Mysterious Jade Hand could condense spirit power and temper the hands, making them as hard as iron. If he could take it a step further and apply it to his entire body, even penetrating his internal organs, he might be able to reach the level of a divine rank physique, even at the titled Douluo realm. Compared to these two, he didn't pay as much attention to the other Tang sect techniques. Apart from occasionally practicing Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track to fit his own spirit's combat style, he only studied the others briefly to understand their principles and extract anything useful. In the blink of an eye, another half-month passed, and Huliena's injuries finally showed signs of improvement. Mysterious Heaven's skill had played a major role in this. If not for this cultivation technique, given Huliena's condition, she might have been bedridden for another 10 to 15 days. The two then returned to Heaven Du City. It just so happened that the day they returned to Heaven Du City was the day the Divine Master was giving a public lecture. The former trash, now the Divine Master, Yu Zairogang, was brimming with satisfaction. Not only had he taught a god, but he was also an honored guest in the 2 great empires and had a beautiful wife. He was truly in high spirits. Everywhere he went, he was fawned over. There are no trash spirits, only trash spirit masters. This is the first lesson I taught the sea god. It was by adhering to this viewpoint, under the Grand Master's, guidance, that he evolved from a trash spirit like blue-silver grass, step by step to become the sea god. Later, Yu Zairogang sat in a high position in the most prosperous part of Heaven Du City, speaking eloquently. Those who came to support him were all of noble status. Even the emperor of the Heaven Du Empire, Zhu Beng, had personally arrived, deigning to sit on the street and listen carefully. You have to say this Zhu Beng is a character. Qian Yu, who was passing by, also stopped and watched it all with a smile. What kind of character is he? He's just a shameless scoundrel. As an emperor of a nation, he's acting like a dog, fawning over Yu Zairogang. Huliena felt very displeased seeing this, especially when looking at Yu Zairogang on the high platform. Her eyes were filled with anger and hatred. Much of the tragedy her teacher had experienced was caused by this culprit. Don't look down on Zhu Beng. If you were in his position, could you lower your face and fawn over someone like he does? Besides, no matter how much he fawns, he's fawning over the teacher of a divinity, not a piece of trash. After spending this time together, Qian Yu had restrained himself a bit and wasn't being too sharp-tongued. Otherwise, he would have directly mocked Bibai Dong by name. Huliena wanted to retort, but opened her mouth and found she didn't know what to say. Yes, in the same situation, could she lower her status and do such a thing? Even now, in such dire straits, she still held on to her pride, the pride of being the former holy maiden of Spirit Hall, the pride of a genius. Is she already showing? Qian Yu's gaze wandered, looking at the two people sitting in the front row, Liu Erlong and Flender. Liu Erlong was currently protruding a large belly, looking with adoration at Yu Xiaogang, who was speaking eloquently on the high platform. Her expression was one of admiration to the bone. Beside her sat Flender, taking care of Liu Erlong with caution at every moment. Anyone who didn't know better would think the child in Liu Erlong's belly was his. Speaking of fawning, isn't there one right here? In the past, Flender only fawned over Liu Erlong. Now, he not only fawns over Liu Erlong, but also puts all his effort into fawning over Yu Xiaogang. He just wanted to use Yu Xiaogang's fame to promote his Shrek Academy, which was opening in half a year. The title of Divine Master was enough to attract countless followers. Below the stage, Flender constantly satisfied Liu Erlong's every request. One moment he was handing her water, the next he was taking various fruits out of his spirit tool, patiently peeling them and handing them to Liu Erlong. He was enjoying every moment of it. From time to time, he would wink at Yu Xiaogang on stage, wanting him to take this opportunity to mention Shrek Academy. Yu Xiaogang had long noticed Flender's signals. The reason he hadn't responded yet was that he was playing hard to get. Even if it was a request from his former brother, if he agreed too easily, wouldn't his status as a divine master be devalued? Seeing Flender busy running around, Yu Xiaogang nodded secretly with satisfaction, and then proceeded to promote the Shrek Academy matter. Qian Yu's gaze at this moment was lingering more on Liu Erlong. To be precise, it was her protruding belly. He felt he could stir up some trouble. Even if he couldn't come forward himself, he could spread some rumors to divide the enemy from within. As for whether this would affect the child who hadn't yet been born, he didn't care. No, let's phrase it differently. I am making a huge contribution to the continuation of human civilization. The product of inbreeding is very likely to suffer from congenital diseases and should not exist in this world. Shouldn't we prioritize eugenics? A holy smile appeared on Qian Yu's face. He was about to start wielding the moral cudgel. Chapter 12: The Conflict Between Flender and Yu Xiaogang. After watching the spectacle and gathering the information he wanted, Qian Yu did not linger, nor did he continue to stay there and disgust himself. He returned to their hideout with Huliena. "Young master, you have returned." As soon as he returned, the maid, LV Zhu, hurried forward to welcome him. "Let Huliena help you soften it before consuming it." With a flick of his wrist, Qian Yu took 2 pieces of 10,000-year whale glue from his storage spirit tool and tossed them to LV Zhu. He trusted this maid very much. According to the memories of his predecessor, LV Zhu was an orphan, picked up by his predecessor's father Yi Guhong, from a village ravaged by evil soul masters. Her name fit her well, her spirit was green bamboo, and she had an innate spirit power of level 5. She was now 16 years old and a 3-ring spirit elder. As the vice-commanders of the Angel Legion, his predecessor's parents had always been very busy, and it was almost entirely LV Zhu who had raised him. When he first underwent transmigration, after clarifying the timeline, the only person he could use was LV Zhu. He lied, claiming he had a nightmare where he dreamt of future events, with LV Zhu's help and his father's token. He not only took all the valuables in the house, but also ransacked the Angel Legion's treasury. It was also LV Zhu who awakened his spirit. He had originally planned to escape the vortex of Spirit Hall with LV Zhu, hide in the extreme north, work hard to cultivate, and live a peaceful life like that. He never expected that just after awakening his spirit, he would encounter Qian Renxue and Huliena, which led to everything that followed. "Young master, this is..." Looking at the whale glue in her hand, LV Zhu was somewhat surprised. During this time, she had managed the household as a young noblewoman, coming into contact with many things only nobles could access, so how could she not know what this was? Could it be that young master? No, that's not right, young master is still young. Looking at the whale glue in her hand, then at the young master who had suddenly grown a bit, and finally at Huliena before her, LV Zhu suddenly became somewhat unsettled. Enough! Qian Yu knew she had misunderstood again. He then gave Hu Liena a look, signaling her to help handle it. As for himself, he continued to cultivate. With Hu Liena's help, LV Zhu quickly refined a piece of 10,000-year whale glue. Not only did her spirit power increase, but her cultivation also advanced, achieving a breakthrough to level 35. Young master, do you need me to collect 10,000-year whale glue in Heaven Du City? Upon learning of the wonderful effects of this item, LV Zhu immediately became excited. If she could keep consuming this 10,000-year whale glue, that would be great. Then she would have the ability to help the young master even more. As for money, she and the young master were truly not lacking. Their storage spirit tool was packed, and they also had anonymous gold coin cards accepted by all major merchant guilds. Take your time with such things, don't be too flashy. Come, young master will teach you a brand new meditation method, but before you learn it, you must first take an oath. Qian Yu was clearly much more patient with LV Zhu than with Hu Liena. He had no psychological qualms about spreading the mysterious heaven skill. After all, it wasn't his own possession. Naturally, he wanted to increase his strength as much as possible right now. Although LV Zhu's talent was somewhat lacking, she was very composed in handling matters. For many things that were inconvenient for him to deal with personally, he could just leave them to LV Zhu. Regarding the young master's suggestion, LV Zhu did not hesitate and immediately took the oath. After experiencing the profoundness of the mysterious heaven skill, LV Zhu wept with joy. For the next period of time, apart from LV Zhu who occasionally went out to make purchases, Qian Yu was constantly working hard to cultivate, crazily improving his strength in all aspects. It must be said, the holy wings were truly profound in assisting with cultivation. Although he had not yet obtained his third spirit ring, Qian Yu could feel his cultivation speed increasing rapidly. As for Hu Liena, she had long since left Heaven Du City to search for her brother and Yan. Meanwhile, rumors began to spread quietly throughout Heaven Du City. To be precise, it wasn't rumors, but a love story about the Divine Master. It was written very movingly and beautifully, but within this story, some personal agendas were quietly inserted. For example, the love triangle between Yu Xiaogang, Liu Erlong, and Flender. This was a fact, and it was written quite beautifully, but that was where the problem lay. In the story, Flender was portrayed as a great figure who worked tirelessly and gave up the woman he loved for the sake of his brother. At first glance, there was absolutely no problem. It not only didn't smear anyone, but also elevated everyone to a pedestal. But the key issue was that this beautiful love story, no matter how one looked at it, was written from Flender's perspective. As if he were the greatest existence of them all. The Divine Master's current achievements were all thanks to him. Although this was a fact, in the eyes of a petty person, it was entirely different. And among the Golden Triangle, there really was one petty person. Yu Xiaogang. Flender, what exactly do you mean by this? You've gone crazy wanting to make a name for yourself. Yu Xiaogang took the book that had already been published and slammed it heavily in front of Flender. Xiaogang, what's wrong? Isn't this book written quite well? It portrays our images perfectly. Flender looked at the furious Yu Xiaogang, his face full of confusion and bewilderment. When this book first began to circulate, he had also thought it was a scheme by someone with ulterior motives, but after reading and inspecting it, there was absolutely no problem. Although some parts of the story in the book were fictional, it was constantly praising and extolling them. It was clearly written by someone who admired them. Even he, who was usually very stingy and petty, had specially bought a hardcover edition to keep. What? Don't tell me this book wasn't written by a ghostwriter you hired. Many of the things in it are known only to the two of us. Just because I am with Erlong, are you taking revenge on us like this? Making the relationship between me and Erlong public, Flender, is your heart that venomous? Yu Xiaogang looked at Flender, who was still playing dumb, and sternly rebuked him. He was very satisfied with the praise he received in the book, but he was very dissatisfied that the parts praising Flender exceeded his own. It was as if everything he possessed was only obtained because of Flender's magnanimity and Flender's concessions. As a divine master, how could he accept such a thing? For the sea god to have such achievements, the one with the greatest credit must be himself. Even his good brother Flender could not be allowed to take that credit. Given how Yu Xiaogang manipulated Flender and Liu Erlong, he currently had other ways to respond. But he did not choose to do so. The reason was simple. Before becoming a divine master, he had to carefully maintain his relationship with Flender at every turn. If after becoming a divine master, he still had to consider how to rely on Flender and maintain the relationship, wouldn't that mean he had become a divine master for nothing? Chapter 13, Flame God I. Xiaogang, I can assure you that I absolutely did not do this. I will investigate the situation and find the source of this story. But there is one thing I must make clear to you in advance. The person who initially wrote the story did not do so from a book. It was a story passed down by word of mouth. It is very likely that someone who admires you compiled it, but some errors occurred during the spreading process. It will be very difficult to hold someone accountable and find the true source. It will take some time. Seeing Yu Xiaogang's expression, Flender only felt a chill in his heart. As a shrewd businessman, how could he not understand Xiaogang's meaning? Clearly, ever since he became a divine master, being flattered by countless people of noble status, and having a disciple who is a deity, his status had gradually changed. The role of people like them was no longer as significant. Naturally, their statuses were no longer equal. However, for the sake of his dream and Shrek Academy's recruitment, Flender had no choice but to suppress the slight discomfort in his heart. This matter was naturally orchestrated by Qian Yu. The war had been won, and without a powerful external enemy, internal strife was about to begin. Using a few minor tactics was enough to cause their relationship to gradually fracture. This was only the first step. Next, he would gradually divide and disintegrate the enemy, even causing them to turn against each other and fight amongst their own people. With Tang Sen gone and no absolute military suppression, under the pressure of conflicting interests, who would be willing to be the one being bullied? In the blink of an eye, another half a month passed. The scorching sun hung high in the sky. Qian Yu sat in the courtyard, staring directly at the blazing sun above. Strands of pure sun, true fire energy were drawn in as he circulated his cultivation technique, converging onto the holy wings behind him. As the sun true fire integrated, a touch of red light appeared on the pale golden holy wings. While continuously enhancing the holy wings themselves, the transformed and harmonized energy slowly merged into Qian Yu's eyes. After trying many times, he had been unable to directly absorb solar energy to temper his eyes. His eyes were simply too fragile, and the sun true fire was too domineering. Even with the cultivation method of the purple demon eye, it could not be harmonized. If not for the protection of the divine rank head spirit bone, he would have long ago made himself blind. Fortunately, after much research, he discovered that he could absorb sun true fire through the external spirit bone, the holy wings, fuse it with the holy light, harmonize it according to a certain ratio, and then integrate it into his eyes, which would more quickly enhance the refinement of his eyes and his mental force. Now it could no longer be called the purple demon eye. Qian Yu named it the flame god eye. A flame god eye that belonged solely to him. Once the flame god eye reached major achievement, its power would certainly far exceed that of the purple demon eye. I've surpassed Tang Sen by another margin. Only when he felt fatigue in his mental force did Qian Yu stop his cultivation. Young lord. Seeing Qian Yu stop his cultivation, LV Zhu immediately handed over a towel for a cold compress. LV Zhu, has Huliana not sent any message yet? Qian Yu was very concerned about this. You have to know, until now, he still hadn't obtained his third spirit ring. Their time was already limited. Perhaps in a few years, Tang Sen would return to the Douluo Continent from the God Realm. By that time, the situation would be even worse. What needed to be done right now was to improve his strength as quickly as possible. 3 days ago, she sent a message saying she had already found the specific address, calculating the time she should see. Send another update this afternoon or tomorrow. LV Zhu handed the secret letter sent by Huliana to Qian Yu. It looked like an ordinary family letter, but some of the characters in it were clearly circled. Have found brother. In addition, traces suspected to be Snake Lance Douluo have also been discovered. Piecing together the circled characters formed the accurate information she wanted to convey. These were naturally things Qian Yu had taught Hu Liena. No matter what one does, it is better to be cautious. Found Snake Lance Douluo. Seeing the content of this secret letter, Qian Yu fell into deep thought again. If only he and LV Zhu were hiding in this heaven-due city, as long as they didn't act rashly, they wouldn't be easily exposed. Even with the addition of Hu Liena, with the angel head spirit bone, they could still hide and disguise themselves. But if there were an additional titled Douluo, that would be unpredictable. In this era, titled Douluo were extremely rare. No matter how well they disguised themselves, once the aura of a titled Douluo was leaked, they would certainly be found. It seems I need to prepare another safe hiding place. After thinking it over repeatedly, Qian Yu couldn't think of any suitable place. It was truly because the current Douluo Continent was filled with Tang San's people. He had considered the idea of going to the Sun-Moon Empire to develop, but the key problem was that there was no way to know where the Sun-Moon Empire was. If they wanted to go there, they would still have to cross the ocean, which was still Tang San's territory. Then they will have to suffer a bit. Let's place their residence in the Stardew Great Forest. In the end, after some thought, Qian Yu decided to let them hide in the Stardew Great Forest. It's just that he didn't know where those vicious beasts were currently hiding. LV Zhu, go and purchase a large amount of daily necessities. Remember, don't be afraid of trouble. Have people go to several different shops and make multiple trips. Qian Yu gave the order to LV Zhu. Although up to this point, he hadn't received clear information about Snake Lance Douluo and the others, it was still better to make thorough preparations in advance. Afterward, LV Zhu went to get busy. The next day, Hu Liena delivered the secret letter on time. Just as mentioned before, she had found Snake Lance Douluo, and even Porcupinefish Douluo had been found as well. But now there was a very critical issue. They were injured at their roots. Besides that, there were some other troubles. Hu Liena hoped that Qian Yu would make a trip. To go or not to go was a big question. Although they had been in contact for so long and Hu Liena was trustworthy, what if? What if he himself encountered a situation? LV Zhu, for the next period of time, you stay in Heaven Dew City and cultivate well. Execute the previous plan if you can, but once you discover any bad signs, immediately cut ties. Prioritize self-preservation above all else. After this period of time, young Lord will find a way to get you a high-quality 10,000-year spirit bone. In the end, Qian Yu still decided to go. There was no other way. He needed spirit rings that were of high quality and age. He had to take the gamble. Before leaving, he didn't forget to dangle a carrot for LV Zhu. Although LV Zhu was trustworthy, the carrot still needed to be dangled. Young Lord, are you going alone? LV Zhu looked at Qian Yu, her eyes still full of worry. It's fine, it's actually safer for me to go alone. Qian Yu still had some confidence. With his current strength, even if he faced a 5-ring spirit king, he could still kill them. Chapter 14, The Insatiable Nobles. Qian Yu rented a carriage and headed toward his destination. It had been over half a year since the defeat of Spirit Hall. Now, the two great empires had occupied the majority of Spirit Hall's legacy and could be said to be overflowing with wealth. Logically speaking, with the collapse of a behemoth like Spirit Hall, just as a fallen whale brings life to all, it should have given birth to many more factions. Even if no other factions emerged, with so many people dead and so many more resources available, the lives of the middle and lower class commoners should have been better. But Qian Yu discovered that things had not developed as he had anticipated. Big brother, as a noble spirit master, why do you do the kind of work that only commoners can do? Qian Yu looked at the middle-aged man driving the carriage and asked. He could sense that the other party was also a 2-ring spirit master. On the Douluo Continent, spirit masters were so noble. Let alone a 2-ring spirit master, even a one-ring spirit master could be treated as an honored guest in many places. Why? Naturally, to survive. The Empire won, which is something worth celebrating, but for us, not only has life not improved, it has actually become worse. Besides not being able to go to Spirit Hall to collect gold coins anymore, 5 or 6 new taxes have been added. Most importantly, we one-ring and two-ring spirit masters seem to have no use. Back when Spirit Hall was around, there were jobs specifically provided for us, maintaining the hunting forest, performing the spirit awakening. These were tasks commoners couldn't do and powerful spirit masters didn't want to do, but now all of that is gone. The most ridiculous thing is, even the carriage-driving jobs that commoners could do before, they can't do anymore because the roads aren't safe, and because we've stolen their jobs. Mentioning this, the spirit master driving the carriage chattered endlessly, as if missing the good old days, and also as if complaining about the state of the world. Are they even greedier than I imagined? After annexing such a massive foundation from Spirit Hall, are they still not full? Qian Yu whispered in his heart. The greed of these nobles was even greater than he had imagined. However, he actually felt that this was a very good era. Without having experienced suffering, without having lost anything, one will never know the value of possessing something once again. If a few hundred more years passed, once this generation died, their descendants would have been completely domesticated. At that time, wanting to do anything would be a very difficult matter. In this current time period, if he could succeed, he would truly be able to have everyone answer his call. Of course, this does not include those nobles. For the rest of the journey, besides necessary cultivate, Qian Yu spent more time enjoying the scenery along the way. Perhaps because the spirit master driving the carriage sensed the fluctuations of his spirit power leaking out, he did not make any overstepping moves from beginning to end. It took over 10 days, and he finally arrived at his destination. Blackstone Village, a very ordinary little village. Not long after he arrived, 3 figures appeared before him. One of them was none other than Hu Liena. As for the other 2, one had a flamboyant personality, and the other was gloomy and reserved. Clearly they were Yan and Zai Yue. Although he hadn't seen their former glory, just from their attire that was out of place with the surrounding environment, as well as their low spirits, it was easy to see that these 2 had not been doing very well recently. Why did you have to make me come here? Qian Yu did not interact with the other 2 at first, instead looking at Hu Liena. Senior Snake Lance and Senior Porcupinefish do not trust me. Hu Liena was also very helpless about this. She knew that even without the things she had done, she would still not be favored by these 2. After all, they were closer to Qian Renxue. Let's go, I will go meet these 2 seniors. Qian Yu hesitated for a moment, but still chose to take the risk to make contact with these 2. In the current situation, he needed a titled Douluo to provide protection. Brother, take Qian Yu to see the 2 seniors. I have something to say to Yan. Hu Liena did not step forward to lead the way, but instead looked at Yan with a fierce gaze. Qian Yu naturally knew why Hu Liena was like this. From the moment he appeared and spoke, Yan had been very dissatisfied with him, wanting to say something several times but holding back. If not for whatever Hu Liena had told him beforehand, perhaps he would have already turned hostile. Subsequently, accompanied by Zai Yue, he headed into the village. Along the way, Zai Yu greeted passing pedestrians very familiarly. Aunt Gisua, you're going to the back mountain to dig for wild vegetables again. So early. This is my distant cousin. He hasn't been to the countryside, so I brought him here to stay for a couple of days. Later. Clearly, Zai Yu had integrated better than Yan, and his mindset was also better. Among the former Spirit Hall Golden Generation, Zai Yu's spirit quality was relatively the worst. And his talent was also the worst, but Qian Yu valued him more. The most fundamental reason for this was naturally his heart nature. It seems you have adapted quite well, but I don't know if this kind of life has made you forget the obsession in your heart. If you choose comfort, no one will blame you. You absolutely do not need to risk your life with us. Perhaps with you here, there will at least be someone to help collect our corpses. Qian Yu looked at the composed Zai Yu and asked with a smile. If there were no opportunity, I might really choose this kind of life. Living in such comfort for a lifetime wouldn't be bad either. But if there is an opportunity, even if it's only a 1 in 100 million chance, I will give up everything to try. As Zai Yu spoke, a sharp, cold glint appeared in his eyes. At the same time, he finally understood why his sister had said that this child was different from everyone else. With just one encounter, he had pinpointed his mindset. This kind of thing was something that even the two titled Douluo, Snake Lance and Porcupine Fish, hadn't noticed. While speaking, the two had already arrived at their destination. Within his line of sight, two men were lying leisurely on reclining chairs, looking exactly like two farmers. One could not see any air of a titled Douluo from them. "Seniors, the person has arrived." Yan looked at the two who were still resting with their eyes closed, and then spoke softly. The next moment, the relatively thinner Snake Lance Douluo immediately opened his eyes, and a sharp aura rushed straight toward Qian Yu, giving a show of force right from the start. Zai Yu did not help block this pressure, but instead watched quietly from the side. He also wanted to see if this child before him was truly as miraculous as his sister had said, and if he was worth them betting their lives on again. A test. Facing Snake Lance Douluo using powerful mental force to intimidate him right from the start, Qian Yu felt no fear. He directly activated the Flame God Eye, meeting the other party's pressure head-on. Chapter 15, The Recognition of Snake Lance Douluo. Snake Lance Douluo was also surprised by the sudden change in Qian Yu's eyes, and then he continued to increase the intensity of his pressure. Level 40, level 50, level 60. It was not until the pressure reached a level comparable to a level 70 Spirit Saint that Qian Yu showed any signs of abnormality. With such a cheat, even though Qian Yu was only a 2-ring Spirit Grandmaster, there were truly few people below the titled Douluo level who could force him to bow his head, relying solely on pressure. His abnormality was more due to being unable to control the holy wings within his body. Under the pressure of Snake Lance Douluo, the holy wings were activated, and Qian Yu subconsciously wanted to release them. But Qian Yu did not choose to do so. Instead, he circulated his spirit power and forcibly suppressed them. After all, the holy wings had not yet completely undergone fusion, and there was a possibility of them being taken away. He could still completely trust Hu Liena. As for Zai Yu and Yan, because of Hu Liena, he could barely trust them. But he really couldn't trust the two people in front of him very much. Although they were loyal to Spirit Hall, times had changed, and who could guarantee that their loyalty remained the same? Even if they were still loyal, this loyalty was towards Spirit Hall and towards Qian Renxue, not towards him, the newcomer. Even from a certain perspective, Qian Renxue was forced to her death by him. No matter what the two titled Douluo, Snake Lance and Porcupine Fish Douluo, did, Qian Yu would not be surprised. Is this who the young lord chose? Is this the final hope of our Spirit Hall? Snake Lance Douluo looked at Qian Yu, who faced his pressure without the slightest sign of submission, his eyes always revealing a firm light, and he sighed softly. If the young lord had possessed such demeanor back then, they would not have fallen to such a sorry state. Since the young lord has entrusted everything to you, Sai Zhu and I will naturally help you with all our might. But don't hold too high expectations for us two old fellows. The injuries we sustained before cannot be recovered in less than 10 years or so. Now the two of us are only slightly stronger than a Spirit Douluo, and we cannot easily take action. Snake Lance stood up and looked at Qian Yu, his eyes very heavy. Obviously, he had already recognized Qian Yu. But forced by reality, some things were not resolved just by recognition. They did not have much energy left. Many thanks for your trust, senior. As for the injuries of you two, I will find a way. Seeing the attitude of Snake Lance Douluo, Qian Yu suddenly breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. No matter what, this trip was not in vain. Even an injured titled Douluo was still a titled Douluo, absolutely incomparable to a Spirit Douluo. In this era, there had not yet appeared those existences where a Spirit Saint or Spirit Douluo could be comparable to a titled Douluo. Even Yang Wudi only managed to severely injure Snake Lance Douluo under the addition of various conditions. As for the Tang Hao of the past, such matters were simply not within the scope of discussion. It was not that his clear sky hammer was so strong, but but rather that he was ridiculously unreasonable, using all kinds of unrealistic cheats. Fine, if you kid can really help us heal our injuries, then betting this life to go crazy with you, what of it? Obviously, Snake Lance Douluo thought that Qian Yu was boasting. Even things that they, as titled Douluo, could not solve themselves, what means could a child like Qian Yu have to solve them? It's a deal, you two seniors should rest for now. Qian Yu bowed respectfully and then left. Facing these two, he lowered his posture so much, but when facing Qian Renxue, he crazily cursed and slandered her. Naturally, it was because the situation had changed. Qian Renxue and Huliena felt guilty towards him, and coupled with that situation, Qian Yu really didn't want to struggle anymore back then, intending to just give up and restart. But now, with a chance to fight again, he naturally cherished his life. The respect that should be shown to the strong still had to be maintained. After taking his leave and coming out, he just happened to see Huliena beating up Yan. Obviously, Yan had completely angered Huliena because of some inappropriate words, and he kept apologizing while getting beaten. When he saw Qian Yu walking over, Yan's eyes suddenly lit up. Qian Yu, I was wrong, I was wrong. Whatever you say in the future, I will do. I will never give you attitude again. Yan hurriedly rushed to Qian Yu's side to express his attitude. Seeing this, Huliena stopped. Huliena, have you passed on the mysterious heaven skill to them yet? Looking at Yan, who was completely controlled by Huliena, Qian Yu didn't want to complain about anything. This thing called a love brain was truly invincible. Not yet. After all, this cultivation technique was obtained from you. Without your permission, how could I impart it to them? Huliena shook her head gently. She hadn't arrived here long ago, and some things simply hadn't had time to be done. Pass on the mysterious heaven skill and the series of cultivation techniques to everyone. Besides that, I have some 10,000-year whale glue here. As Qian Yu said this, he took out a few pieces of whale glue from his spirit tool and threw them over. The ones purchased before had already been used up. These were quietly acquired by LV Zhu in Heaven Du City. What is the mysterious heaven skill? Whale glue, why did you take out whale glue? Don't tell me you want us to eat this. After being physically persuaded by Huliena, Yan's mindset changed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, when facing Qian Yu, he directly accepted everything. He asked about this and that without any hesitation. When you consume it later, I will explain the details to you. For an Yan like this, Qian Yu really didn't dislike him much. This kind of person doesn't have too many schemes, and it is the easiest to get along with him. Subsequently, Qian Yu gathered them together again, and first taught them the mysterious heaven skill, purple demon eye, and other series of techniques. If there were no accidents, this was the only power he could gather together at the moment. In this regard, since Qian Yu had chosen to accept them, he did not choose to hold anything back. Soon, except for Huliena, the others, including the two titled Douluo, Snake Lance and Porcupinefish Douluo, began to cultivate the mysterious heaven skill. After a long while, Porcupinefish was the first to open his eyes. If I only had a 40% chance of recovering from my injuries within 8 years before, now with this cultivation technique, I am confident that I can recover from all my injuries within 5 years. When Porcupinefish Douluo said this, his eyes were full of shock. There was a bit more brightness in his eyes when he looked at Qian Yu. Perhaps the young lord's choice was right. The youth in front of him was indeed their final hope. Senior Porcupinefish, if we add precious spirit medicine for treatment, can we speed up the recovery of the injuries? Qian Yu was still not very satisfied with this result. 5 years was too long. He really couldn't wait. What kind of medicinal materials? If the medicinal materials are suitable, it is not impossible to reduce the time by 2 or 3 years. Hearing that Qian Yu still had a way, Porcupinefish's eyes suddenly became even brighter. Chapter 16, Plan to Hunt Yang Wudi. Although they had only spent less than half a day together, he had to admit this kid had captivated him. As for what medicinal herbs are there, I cannot be certain, but I can tell you that if our luck is good enough, we might get an unexpected surprise. It is not appropriate for now. Let us wait a bit longer. Acting in 2 months will save us a lot of trouble. What Qian Yu was referring to was, naturally, the ice and fire yin-yang well. Although the immortal herbs there had been completely scavenged by Tang San, there were still other medicinal herbs. Even the most common medicinal herbs inside would be considered extremely rare in the outside world. Besides, what if there were immortal herbs that Tang San did not recognize? Regardless, it was a place they had to visit. Currently, Douluo was still alive, and Tang San had not yet set his sights on the Sunset Forest. At this moment, the ice and fire yin-yang well was still in Douluo's possession. As for the poisonous miasma outside, it might be tricky for others, but for Porcupinefish Douluo, it was not a problem at all. The reason for waiting 2 months was to wait for Shrek Academy to open for enrollment. If Douluo went there, they would not have a direct confrontation with him. If it were not for the fact that both Snake Lance and Porcupinefish Douluo were injured, he would have insisted on launching a siege against Douluo. It was not just for revenge and weakening the power of Tang San's faction, but also for that head spirit bone of Douluo's. That spirit bone was filled with highly toxic poison and could not be absorbed by others, but it was a perfect match for Porcupinefish Douluo. Perhaps there is one person we can eliminate first. Thinking of immortal herbs, Qian Yu thought of one person. Breaking Clan Yang Wudi. If he remembered correctly, he currently possessed one immortal herb, Yaoxiang Kiluo. Although he did not know if it had any other effects besides countering highly toxic poisons, it was still an immortal herb after all. Who knew what kind of transformation might occur after consuming it? Besides, perhaps Yang Wudi carried the corresponding immortal herb illustrated guide on him. Once obtained, would they not know if it was useful? Thinking of this, Qian Yu's gaze became firm. This Yang Wudi had to be killed. Subsequently, the others also successfully switched to the cultivation technique. They were all extremely shocked. This cultivation technique was truly unprecedented in its profoundness. Huliena, we are about to begin the next step of our plan. If the plan succeeds, the 2 seniors' injuries may recover before long. For the next period of time, I may have to trouble you to travel about. Qian Yu first fixed his gaze on Huliena. For the time being, he really could not command Sai Yu and Yan. Naturally, he had to go through Huliena. You say it, I do it. Huliena's reply was very brief. Although she had not yet seen any great hope, she could feel that ever since Qian Yu appeared, everyone had become different. She simply decided to stop thinking. Whatever Qian Yu asked her to do, she would just do it. Next, you need to disguise your identity, gather information, clarify intelligence on Yang Wudi, and search for accurate information on when he is alone. Once an opportunity is found, everyone will strike together, killing him with thunderous force and taking everything he has. Of course, there is no rush for this matter. For now, help me hunt for my 3rd spirit ring first. The last sentence was Qian Yu's true goal. After all this trouble, was it not just so he could possess the power to obtain a spirit ring? Huliena and Zai Yu were both high-level spirit saints, and the 2 possessed a martial soul fusion skill. Yan seemed to be a spirit Douluo already. With the addition of Snake Lance and Porcupinefish Douluo to guard them, they finally met the conditions to hunt for a spirit ring. What kind of spirit beast do you want for your 3rd spirit ring? Now Huliena spoke with a bit more confidence. Back when she was alone, she truly had no confidence when facing the spirit beast Qian Yu needed. Now that her brother and Yan were by her side, she no longer had to be as embarrassed as before. Let's go with that 70,000-year-old sacred golden beetle. I estimate that after hunting and absorbing it, I will also obtain an amplification-type spirit ability, and perhaps I will be able to gain an unexpected harvest by then. Qian Yu pondered for a moment, and did not choose to change his target. On one hand, the spirit beast he wanted to obtain was difficult to find. On the other hand, he could vaguely feel that his first 2 spirit rings could be attempted to be stacked. If he hunted the same spirit beast for his 3rd spirit ring, he might innately obtain the secret technique of spirit ring fusion. It would just mean making the sacred golden beetle tribe suffer a little. According to Qian Yu's estimation, the powerful sacred golden beetles across the entire Douluo Continent would very likely be wiped out by him. No way did I hear that right. You want to absorb a 70,000-year-old one for your third spirit ring? Yan was thoroughly shocked. He looked at Qian Yu with eyes full of disbelief. You have to know, many titled Douluo's ninth spirit rings were only of this age. How did he do it? Is this possible? Absorbing a 70,000-year-old one for the third spirit ring, did that mean his fourth spirit ring would be aiming for the 100,000-year-old target? All of this is a gift from the angel god. Just luck. Qian Yu did not explain further. With a thought, he unfurled his two 10,000-year spirit rings. To be honest, even Qian Yu himself felt that his spirit ring age was a bit too outrageous. When he absorbed his first spirit ring at 29,000 years, he had taken a risk and tried with all his might. Who knew that he would actually succeed? Afterward, he tried a 50,000-year spirit ring, and it was still successful. He felt that it was not just because of the full set of divine rank spirit bones and the transformation by divine force, but also because the golden beetle on his body was compatible with the six-winged angel martial soul. Since the opportunity was here, he naturally could not miss it. Seeing Qian Yu's spirit rings, Yan was completely stunned. Even the two titled Douluo, Snake Lance and Porcupine Fish, were shocked beyond measure. Apparently, Hu Liena had not told them about this matter. Kid, give this old man a few days to recuperate, and I will accompany you to catch that spirit beast you need. Snake Lance saw the spirit rings on Qian Yu's body, his eyes filled with burning intensity. Especially that six-winged angel martial soul, which made him feel as if he was seeing the glory of the spirit hall's angels from the past. And it was far greater than before. At this moment, he decided to bet everything. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. To try once more, if they lost, it would just mean death. Many thanks, Senior. Seeing the look in these two men's eyes, Qian Yu felt that it was settled. Come to think of it, although the women of Spirit Hall were idiots, none of the male titled Douluo of Spirit Hall were cowards, and there had been no melodramatic betrayals either. Senior Snake Lance, could you also help me hunt for a suitable spirit ring while you're at it? Just at this moment, Yan asked weakly. As soon as these words were spoken, they immediately drew a surprised look from Hu Liena. Haven't you already broken through to level 80 long ago? Why haven't you obtained a spirit ring? Chapter 17, finally obtaining the third spirit ring. By the time I reached my breakthrough, the Great War had already begun. Even Yan, who usually had a somewhat carefree personality, felt his mood sink when mentioning this matter. He could have smoothly become a spirit Douluo, then strived to become a titled Douluo and an elder of Spirit Hall. But everything, absolutely everything, had completely ceased to exist in that great war. As soon as Yan said this, the atmosphere on the scene instantly fell into a deathly silence. Clearly, for all of them, they were still not used to this disparity. Fortunately, they adjusted quickly. It was Qian Yu who gave them hope once again. Let's give that head spirit bone to Yan first. Later, I will find a way to find a spirit bone with more compatible attributes for Zai Yue. Then, have him consume 10,000-year whale glue to strengthen his physique, so he can obtain a higher-aged 8th spirit ring as much as possible. The head spirit bone Qian Yu spoke of was exactly the 50,000-year sacred golden beetle spirit bone he had obtained when absorbing his second spirit ring. According to the rules of spirit hunting, since Hu Liena helped him hunt the spirit, that spirit bone should have belonged to Hu Liena. Qian Yu also knew that Hu Liena had prepared it for her brother, but that spirit bone was not compatible with Zai Yue's attributes. That was why he made his proposal. All right. Hu Liena did not refuse. The reason she had delayed giving it to her brother was precisely because this spirit bone was more suitable for Yan, but she was somewhat reluctant to give it directly to Yan. Now that Qian Yu had brought it up, she made her decision. Immediately, Hu Liena took out the 50,000-year head spirit bone from her spirit tool. Once the spirit bone appeared, even the eyes of the two titled Douluo became heated. One must know, both of them were already titled Douluo, yet they still did not possess a spirit bone compatible with themselves. How could they not covet it? To seniors, rest assured, the spirit bones you need are also being prepared. After your injuries recover, we will slowly scheme for them. Qian Yu naturally knew the temptation this spirit bone held for them. But honestly, he was really reluctant to give this spirit bone to the two of them. Although they were titled Douluo, their potential was limited. Yan's spirit was very powerful. If he could obtain another 100,000-year soul ring in the future, his achievements would certainly be astonishing. As for where to obtain a 100,000-year soul ring, that was a topic for later. I haven't reached the point of shamelessness where I would steal a spirit bone from a junior. Snake Lance Douluo saw this and gave a wry smile. He knew that now, those remaining from Spirit Hall were only them. It was best to be united and not have disagreements because of one spirit bone. Moreover, vaguely, he really felt that this kid could help him obtain a spirit bone. This is it really for me. Seeing the spirit bone before him, Yan did not dare to reach out to take it for a moment. Most importantly, this spirit bone was something Liena had prepared for Zai Yue. Yan, accept it, there is no need for us to say so much between us. Instead, it was Zai Yu who took the initiative to speak, telling Yan to accept it. Nowadays, everything was focused on increasing strength. Many thanks. Yan accepted the spirit bone and thanked everyone. Afterwards, he went into seclusion to begin the fusion of the spirit bone. He indeed loved Liena very much, this point was unquestionable. But Yan knew even more clearly that without absolute strength, he could not protect his beloved at all. Therefore, he always cultivated unremittingly. It was like this in the past, and in the current situation, he needed to work even harder to cultivate and improve his own strength. Subsequently, Liena guided Zai Yu and the others to consume whale glue. Even for titled Douluo like Snake Lance and Porcupine Fish, 10,000-year whale glue had a significant effect, but because their injuries had not yet recovered, they did not consume the whale glue immediately. It was precisely because of this matter that Qian Yu learned that Porcupine Fish Douluo actually had remarkable achievements in the study of medical Dao, pharmacology, and virulent poisons. Although he could not compare to those famous figures, he could still be called a master. Therefore, for the next period of time, in addition to his daily cultivation, Qian Yu added another learning task, to consult with Porcupine Fish Douluo on pharmacology and other knowledge. In this process, Qian Yu also gave the Tang sect legacy he had obtained from Jixiang to Porcupine Fish Douluo. It must be said, this helped them greatly. It accelerated the recovery of their injuries. In the blink of an eye, another half a month passed. Yan not only absorbed the spirit bone, but also consumed 2 pieces of 10,000-year whale glue. Both his physique and mental force had greatly improved. In this process, Zai Yu also took the opportunity to reach level 75. As for Qian Yu, apart from the improvement of his spirit power and the study of pharmacology, he spent most of his time cultivating the flame god eye. Regarding the matter of converting the mysterious jade hand into a body-refining cultivation technique, he had not yet started researching it. On one hand, the information was insufficient, and on the other hand, his energy was insufficient. A person's energy is limited. It is best to be clear about what to do at what time. He did not want to become a negative example like Feng Xiaoroshan. The group was ready and headed to the Stardew Great Forest to hunt spirits. Qian Yu's goal was very simple. It was still the sacred golden beetle. Instead, it was Yan's spirit ring that needed to be carefully selected. According to Yu Xiaorogang's spirit ring age theory, a spirit master's 8th spirit ring was best at around 50,000 years. Qian Yu naturally would not believe this, but it could serve as a reference standard. Yan's spirit was the top-tier Flame Lord, plus he possessed 2 10,000-year spirit bones. Whether in quality or age, it was quite extraordinary, and he had also consumed whale glue. According to Porcupine Fish Douluo's estimation, conservatively, he could absorb a 60,000-year 8th spirit ring, but if they encountered a suitable spirit beast, he could try to challenge a 70,000-year one. As for higher-aged spirit rings, it was not recommended. Yan decided to challenge a 70,000-year spirit ring. He also knew that this matter would trouble the two seniors, Snake Lance and Porcupine Fish, so he kept saying nice things. In the current situation, the two naturally helped Yan with all their might to find the most suitable spirit ring. If Yan could become a titled Douluo, they would have gained another point of combat power. The primary target was naturally the sacred golden beetle. They settled Qian Yu in a valley, and the group went together to hunt the spirit. In this process, Qian Yu was not idle either. Instead, he was examining this valley. The location was very remote and hidden, and the terrain was of the sunken type. Therefore, even if one flew over from above, it would not be easily discovered. If they renovated it a bit, it could completely be used as a hideout. Qian Yu decided to discuss this matter after they returned. Currently, the reason the two great empires and various forces had not carried out a large-scale purge against them was because various forces were now annexing the legacy of Spirit Hall. Once they finished annexing, they would start to purge and exterminate. Naturally, they needed to make full preparations. Very quickly, the group brought back the target for Qian Yu's third spirit ring. A 70,000-year sacred golden beetle. Chapter 18, Spirit Ring Stacking. Even knowing the risks, Qian Yu made his decision immediately. Absorb a 70,000-year third spirit ring. Afterwards, he took out the angel holy sword and slew it. The pitch-black spirit ring appeared, and Qian Yu circulated his spirit, getting the spirit ring. He was already well versed in this. Porcupine Fish and Snake Lance Douluo stared fixedly at Qian Yu, both worried and expectant. Although they had only been in contact for less than a month, they already firmly believed that Qian Yu was their final hope. Even though they knew the age of the first two spirit rings he absorbed was heaven-defying, seeing Qian Yu actually absorb a 70,000-year third spirit ring still filled them with worry. At the same time, they looked forward to the appearance of this miracle. Qian Yu felt that violent power madly surging into his body, like a breached flood. This power rushed forward uncontrollably, impossible to stop. Fortunately, the full set of divine rank spirit bones was like the strongest dam in the world, suppressing these floods tightly and not letting them run rampant. This gave him the conditions to be able to absorb a spirit ring of such age. But this process was painful. Whether it was physical or mental torture, it crazily assaulted everything he had, time and time again. He could only grit his teeth and hold on tightly. Qian Yu was certain that if his consciousness fell into a coma, it was very likely he would never wake up again. Fortunately, Qian Renxue had also modified his meridians, otherwise, even if his bones could withstand it, his meridians would have long been torn apart by this power. Time passed bit by bit. This time it took a full 7 days and 7 nights before Qian Yu opened his eyes. He successfully absorbed the 72,000-year third spirit ring. Both the spirit power and mental force within his body were unprecedentedly powerful. First spirit ability, Holy Light Body Protection. As Qian Yu cast his spirit ability, a white gold light lingered around his body, forming a layer of protection. The white gold light was like flowing water, starting to change and circulate with his movements, as easy to command as an arm. This layer of white gold light not only protected him at all times, but also amplified his entire body. After activating it, all attributes are amplified by 100%. And there is no time limit until spirit power is exhausted. Furthermore, this spirit ability is also a growth-type spirit ability. For every spirit ring obtained, the amplification increases by 10%. Second spirit ability, Sacred Escape Light. It is also an amplification-type spirit ability. The difference is that this spirit ability's amplification is not for all attributes. After activating Sacred Escape Light, his speed is amplified by 200%, and his strength, defense, physical toughness, and resistance to abnormal status effects are amplified by 100%. The only regret is that this spirit ability is not growth type. Third spirit ability, Holy Light Armor. As Qian Yu's words fell, a set of white gold battle armor covered his body, shielding everything. It is also an amplification type spirit ability, and it is a full attribute amplification spirit ability. Except for defense, the rest of the amplifications are all increased by 100%, while in terms of defense, it is directly increased by 300%. The most heaven-defying part is that this spirit ability is also a growth-type spirit ability. For every spirit ring added, the amplification increases by another 10%. The reason Qian Yu displayed his 3 spirit abilities was not to show off, but because after he obtained the 3rd spirit ring, he had a sudden flash of insight, a feeling he had never had before. Stacking. The next moment, his 3 spirit rings fused together. All amplification effects were stacked, and his physical amplification reached a very heaven-defying level. At this moment, even if Qian Yu were facing a spirit emperor, he would dare to fight. But soon he dispersed the spirit ability stacking. It was truly too much of a drain on his spirit power. After all, he was essentially still a 3-ring spirit elder. He simply could not support the consumption after stacking the spirit rings for a long time. Is it not spirit ring fusion? After dispelling the spirit ability stacking, Qian Yu fell into deep thought. He had originally thought that by continuously obtaining spirit rings from 3 identical spirit beasts, he would obtain natural spirit ring fusion. He hadn't expected that it was just obtaining spirit ring stacking. But this is also fine. After the 3 spirit rings were stacked, his base stats were maxed out, and he could still fight for a long time. Its effect was not inferior to spirit ring fusion. As for spirit ring fusion, he could find time to learn it as an acquired skill. He even thought about researching the Clear Sky Sect's ring explosion. According to the settings of ring explosion, every time ring explosion is used, although the spirit ring that was exploded does not disappear and will recover after a period of time, the spirit ring will be permanently weakened. The problem lies here. In the original work, Tang Hao used ring explosions so many times, yet there was no sign of any weakening. Therefore, that was why he pursued spirit ring fusion. Although spirit ring fusion would overload himself, it could unleash a powerful strike. As long as his body was strong enough, it would not leave any sequelae. After all, not everyone is named Tang and possesses the cheat of ring explosion without weakening. Even if he obtained the secret technique of ring explosion, he would first try it out, research the ins and outs, and only then would he attempt to cultivate it. Unfortunately, no spirit bone was obtained this time. Qian Yu put away his spirit and glanced at the intact 70,000-year sacred golden beetle's body. Not feeling any spirit power fluctuations, he knew there was no unexpected surprise this time. You really succeeded. Even with the facts laid out in front of him, Yan still couldn't accept it. Right now, facing the absorption of a 70,000-year 8th spirit ring, he was still a bit uneasy and didn't have enough confidence. And this guy in front of him had a 70,000-year 3rd spirit ring. Comparing people to people, it's maddening. The key is that he is only over 6 years old, and won't be 7 for another month. He had seen prodigies, but he had never seen such a prodigy. Believe in yourself, you can do it too. Qian Yu saw intense envy and unwillingness in Yan's eyes. In the midst of speaking, he took out the spirit power detection crystal ball from his storage spirit tool. Rank 37. Having such spirit power, he was not surprised. With such a good configuration and such strong spirit rings, if he didn't even have this spirit power rank, that would be too pathetic. Work hard to cultivate. As for the rest, as long as it is something we can complete, let us do it. Snake Lance Douluo looked at Qian Yu, his eyes filled with burning intensity. At this moment, he had completely believed that Qian Yu was the existence capable of restoring the glory of the angel. He chose to go all in. Many thanks, Senior, but this junior does not want to become a piece of trash who only possesses spirit power but lacks combat experience. The combat that should be had must still be had. When Qian Yu said these words, his second martial soul flashed with light. Clearly, as his strength improved, Qian Renxue was gradually waking up from her slumber. She felt this remark was very offensive. Was he protesting? Mentioning this, Snake Lance also felt that Qian Yu's words had an underlying meaning. He smiled sheepishly and didn't respond. Afterwards, the group began to help Yan search for a spirit ring. Chapter 19, Hu Yanlai being hunted. This was not a simple matter. The spirit beast that Yan needed was truly too hard to find. In this Stardew Great Forest, fire-attributed spirit beasts were too rare, so they chose to target earth-attributed spirit beasts instead. After all, Yan's spirit Flame Lord possessed both earth and fire attributes. Of course, there was another crucial reason why they couldn't find a suitable target immediately. That was because a few years ago, Tang San had conducted a purge of the 10,000-year spirit beasts in the Stardew Great Forest. If it weren't for the fact that the sacred golden beetle didn't suit his spirit's attributes, it might not have been Qian Yu's turn at all. Of course, it was also possible that the other party had missed it. Perhaps we should change our target. I know of a place with over a dozen volcanic craters. We might be able to find a suitable spirit ring there. Seeing that they hadn't found a suitable target after searching for a long time, Porcupinefish Douluo offered a suggestion. No one had any objections to this. Subsequently, the group changed their target and headed toward the place mentioned by Porcupinefish Douluo. This is not long after changing their spirit hunting target, and while heading to the next destination, they encountered a group of people chasing a man. "You've got to be kidding me. We're just here to hunt and we run into trouble. Is it really that dramatic?" Qian Yu complained helplessly. Immediately under the cover of the two titled Douluo, they concealed their figures. Soon they saw the full picture. 3 people were chasing a man, or more accurately, chasing a physical body. Hu Yanlai. After seeing clearly who was being hunted, Zai Yu identified the person. The young lord of the Elephant Armored Academy, and someone from the Spirit Hall camp. The current Hu Yanlai was around 30 years old, and was no longer a youth. With good talent and the resources of his sect, he possessed the cultivation of the Spirit Saint realm. But at this moment, he was in a sorry state. Because among the 3 people chasing him, one was a Spirit Douluo, and the other 2 were both Spirit Saints. Judging by their spirits, they should be people from the Stardew Empire. "Hu Yanlai, why are you running? We just want your spirit bone, not your life." The Spirit Douluo, whose spirit was a diamond tiger, watched the frantically fleeing Hu Yanlai and spoke with a smile. At this moment in his eyes, Hu Yanlai was already a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. The reason was simple. Not only was his strength lower than his own, but his spirit, Diamond Mammoth, was also not suited for speed. Where could he possibly escape to? "Damn it, I only have 1 spirit bone and it's a skull spirit bone. You want my spirit bone? Isn't that just wanting my life? You scum of the Stardew Empire, you are truly shameless." Hu Yanlai cursed furiously while sprinting. After the Spirit Empire was defeated, the Elephant Armored Academy, which had defected to them, naturally suffered unprecedented impacts. After his grandfather died in battle, as the heir to the Elephant Armored Academy, he should have shouldered the heavy burden of the sect. However, various forces crazily suppressed them, and because he possessed a skull spirit bone, he became a target for hunting. The strength of the enemies was definitely something he could not cope with. The only self-rescue method Hu Yanlai could think of was to enter the Stardew Great Forest. Perhaps encountering a powerful spirit beast could delay them for a moment, and buy him a glimmer of hope. However, things were truly not going well. Up to now, he had not encountered any powerful spirit beasts. Should we save him? Seeing that the person being hunted was from their former camp, everyone's gaze immediately turned to Qian Yu. Clearly, they were seeking his opinion. Unknowingly, Qian Yu had become the decision-maker in their group. "Save him. But don't expose my existence yet, let's test him out first." Qian Yu pondered for a moment before making his decision. The safest method was to not save him. But doing so would inevitably chill the hearts of those around him. Currently, he still had to rely on their presence, didn't he? If he did something so cold-blooded to his own people, what would they think? Therefore, he had to save him. As for Hu Yanlai, he really didn't have much of an impression of him. He only remembered that during the Spirit Master competition, he crushed Dai Mubai, but subsequently lost to the martial soul fusion skill of Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing. In terms of spirit quality and talent, it was considered quite good in this era. But without a powerful opportunity, it was very difficult to achieve the rank of titled Douluo. The situation was clear as day. In fact, he was more curious about the age of Huyan Li's skull spirit bone. According to the plot, it should be an 8 or 9,000 year spirit bone. But as the grandson of the Elephant Armored Academy sect master, and since what he fused with was the legacy spirit bone of the Elephant Armored Academy, he felt it should at least be a 10,000 year spirit bone. If it was a 10,000 year spirit bone, killing him might strengthen their side. However, in the end, Qian Yu did not make that choice. Ultimately, it came down to that one issue: people's hearts. The reason these people could gather together now was because they saw hope in him. If there was a problem with people's hearts, it would be very difficult to gather them again. As for spirit bones, that really wasn't a problem. It's hard to get spirit bones from killing spirit beasts. Killing people to get spirit bones is the righteous path. And he really did have a few good targets. Meanwhile, the rest of the group had already taken action. Only Hu Liena was left behind to protect Qian Yu. Although the two titled Douluo, Snake Lance and Porcupinefish, could not go all out, they were still titled Douluo after all, and not something a spirit Douluo could compare to. The more he interacted with them, the more he realized the value of titled Douluo in this era. Each one was a 1 in 10,000 genius. To be blunt, among the Shrek 7 devils, if not for the immortal herbs and the god's trial, most of them would never have had the chance to become titled Douluo in their lifetime. Excluding the cheating Tang San and the spirit beast transformed Zyro Wu, among the remaining 4, only Oscar had the chance to become a titled Douluo. As for the other 4, whether it was Dai Mubai or Ma Hongjun, none of them had the chance to become titled Douluo. At best, they would be spirit Douluo. As for Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong, they were even less significant. One had spirit limitations, and the other had very average innate spirit power and spirit. Even for Oscar, who had full innate spirit power, it would probably take until he was 60 or 70 years old to cultivate to the realm of a titled Douluo. From this, one can see how high the value of titled Douluo was in this era. Of course, the Clear Sky sect was an exception. They were not within the realm of common sense. With their dignity swept away and having lost their spirit, it was truly absurd that after sealing off the mountain, they could still produce 5 or 6 more titled Douluo. After truly living in this world, Qian Yu told himself more than once, where there is something abnormal, there must be something sinister. There must be some shameless manipulation and backing involved. Just as Qian Yu was lost in his wild thoughts, the battle had already ended. The 3 pursuers, having been ambushed by the 2 titled Douluo, Snake Lance and Porcupinefish, lost their lives very easily. Chapter 20, 2 Spirit Bones. After successfully saving Huyan Lei, Qian Yu did not reveal himself. He was waiting for the final result. Not long after, Snake Lance Douluo brought them to Qian Yu's side. As for Huyan Li, he had already left. Huyan Lai had clearly chosen a path that went in the opposite direction from them. He holds a great deal of resentment toward the Spirit Empire and has already chosen to resign himself to his fate. Fortunately, before he left, he indicated that he would not tell anyone he had met us. After Yan finished his assessment of Huyan Lei, he noticed that the others were looking at him with strange expressions. As if looking at an idiot. A wasted effort. Not only did we gain nothing, but we actually increased the risk of being exposed. Porcupinefish Douluo, who had the most contact with Qian Yu, spoke seemingly carelessly, then fixed his gaze on Qian Yu. It's not like we gain nothing. It is highly likely we will obtain a 10,000-year head spirit bone, which counts as a bountiful harvest. Qian Yu said calmly. The moment his words fell, Porcupinefish Douluo's figure vanished from where he stood. The others remained silent. Only Yan and Hu Liena were still bewildered. Why? If you were going to attack him, why did you save him just now? Hu Liena was straightforward and immediately asked about her confusion. Although Yan didn't speak, the expression on his face betrayed him. Clearly, he didn't understand why this was done either. Qian Yu did not answer but glanced at Zai Yue. Zai Yu did not speak immediately. After deep thought, he gave the answer. Saving him initially was because he could have become one of our own, becoming a source of assistance for us. Killing him now is because his existence is very likely to expose us. Just because he said he wouldn't reveal our information to others, does that mean he really won't? Given Huyan Li's current predicament, even if he and his elephant-armored academy wanted to bow their heads and be someone's dog, it would depend on whether others were willing to take them in. At this time, he needs a sufficiently weighty token of allegiance, and we are the best token of allegiance. After Zai Yu finished speaking, he looked at Qian Yu as if wanting him to comment. Qian Yu nodded with a precocious air, fully approving of Zai Yuwei's statement. Indeed, this is only one possibility. Perhaps Huyan Li would really keep our secret, mindful of today's life-saving grace, but he is not alone after all. The Elephant-Armored Academy still has other survivors, and for their sake, what Huyan Li might do is completely unpredictable. Do not forget who the enemy we are facing is, a divinity. Under these circumstances, we should judge others with the greatest malice. Qian Yu still felt some regret. Regardless of anything else, he was still a spirit saint. Even if his combat power wasn't great, he could still be used as cannon fodder in a crisis. What a pity! Not long after, Porcupinefish Douluo returned. I didn't expect it to really be a 10,000-year spirit bone. The quality is quite good, the kind that increases defense. Shilong, it's yours. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. Porcupinefish Douluo threw the head spirit bone he had stripped from Huyan Li's head directly to Snake Lance Douluo. The two of them were partners with a deep bond. In such matters, there would be no reluctance. What's more, Qian Yu had already reserved a head spirit bone for him, a 10,000-year head spirit bone that was very compatible with him. Good things naturally go to one's partner first. I won't stand on ceremony with you. Snake Lance Douluo looked at the 10,000-year head spirit bone that had fallen into his hands. He didn't stand on ceremony and directly stored it into his storage spirit tool, planning to absorb it once he settled down. Let's go, continue to help Yan hunt for a spirit ring. Regarding this result, Qian Yu could not say whether he was happy or disappointed. From the moment he decided to step onto this path, he knew that the road ahead would be very difficult. Nowadays, Tang San and his group are too powerful on the Douluo Continent. Even among former acquaintances, how many would be willing to accompany them in that crazy move that didn't even have a 1 in 10,000 chance of success? As for the means being despicable or anything like that, Qian Yu never took it to heart. He had his own underlying logic. There was no such thing as a struggle between justice and evil, just disputes caused by different situations, camps, ideologies, and systems. The one who achieves the final victory is absolute justice. Perhaps because the topic encountered earlier was too heavy, on the way to hunt the spirit beast, Yan remained unusually silent the whole time. He was using his limited brain to think about the problem. Soon they arrived at their destination again. They successfully found the needed spirit beast. A 73,000-year-old two-headed fire lizard, belonging to the subdragon species, which also possessed both fire and earth attributes. It was very compatible with Yan. The problem is, wanting to kill it was not a simple matter. Fortunately, there were many of them. Even if the two titled Douluo did not use their full strength, they were equivalent to peak spirit Douluo, plus Zai Yu and Hu Liena's martial soul fusion skill, which could also rival a spirit Douluo, and there was also Yan, a quasi-spirit Douluo. As for Qian Yu, he just needed to release the angelic domain from a distance to assist them. Very quickly, they successfully killed the target. During the process of Yan absorbing the spirit ring, Qian Yu quickly discovered something abnormal. Or rather, he discovered that the two titled Douluo, Snake Lance and Porcupinefish, were acting strange. Spirit bone. Sensing the fluctuation of a spirit bone on the corpse of the two-headed fire lizard, Qian Yu knew that these two were tempted. A 70,000-year spirit bone, even a spirit Douluo could not suppress this greed. The reason they didn't take any action was because they were struggling internally. Qian Yu did not say anything, but instead, without leaving a trace, protected Hu Liena and Zai Yu in front of him. If they really encountered the worst-case scenario, they could still hold them off for a while. That kid Yan is really lucky. After a long time, Snake Lance Douluo spoke first, breaking the silent atmosphere. Clearly, they had suppressed the greed in their hearts. He then stepped forward and dug out the spirit bone. When he saw that it was a very perfect torso bone, Snake Lance Douluo's pupils trembled. Then, clearly carrying a bit of resentment, he threw it in front of Yan, unwilling to look at it again. Fearing that if he looked at it more, he wouldn't be able to help but snatch it. The reason the two of them suppressed the greed in their hearts is simple. Even if they snatched this 70,000-year spirit bone, so what? Relying on the spirit bone to increase their strength a bit, could it change the outcome? Their enemy was still an invincible existence. If they wanted to live a cowardly life, with the power of the two-titled Douluo, they could easily hide in a small mountain village. As long as they weren't particularly flashy, nothing would happen. But how could they be content with such a life? The hearts of the people that had been gathered with such difficulty could not be scattered because of a single spirit bone. Chapter 21, Successfully Killing Yang Wudi. Seeing this scene, Qian Yu finally breathed a sigh of relief. Regardless of what had happened along the way or what thoughts those present might have had, at the very least, after experiencing this event, their hearts would be more firmly bonded. The 73,000-year spirit ring was somewhat strenuous for Yan, but fortunately, he possessed a spirit bone and had consumed 10,000-year whale glue, so his body was still able to withstand it. The problem lay in the aspect of mental force. Fortunately, he had fused with that sacred golden beetle head spirit bone. There was difficulty, but it was still something he could tough out. It was nothing more than spending a bit more time. 2 days later, Yan finally successfully absorbed the spirit ring. He officially became a spirit Douluo. Just after obtaining the spirit ring, he was already a peak level 83 spirit Douluo. He only needed to cultivate for a while longer to stabilize his spirit power, and he would be able to smoothly break through to level 84. This was due to the contribution of that head spirit bone, the age of the spirit ring, as well as the fact that he had previously achieved a breakthrough, but had not yet obtained a spirit ring, and had continued to cultivate for over half a year. Damn, is my luck that good? I even obtained a torso bone. Upon waking up and seeing the spirit bone placed before him, Yan immediately shouted excitedly. Yan, we should go back. Ziyu saw Yan's unsteady appearance and spoke up to remind him. Yan might not realize it, but he was very clear that, just because of this 70,000-year torso bone, they had just walked on the edge of life and death. Having obtained a good item, instead of putting it away quickly, he was showing it off everywhere. This was purely a suicidal act. Hearing Zai Yue's reminder, Yan also realized it was inappropriate and hurriedly stored it into his storage spirit tool. He planned to absorb it after a while, once he reached level 84. The spirit hunting was a complete success. The group did not return to the previous small village, but instead followed Qian Yu's suggestion and settled down in that small valley within the Stardew Great Forest. As for the spirit beasts there, they could not cause much of an impact, and with the addition of some spirit beast-repelling powder prepared by Porcupinefish Douluo, it was not difficult to live there in hiding. Except for Hu Liena, everyone else was working hard to cultivate, while Hu Liena went to execute the task Qian Yu had arranged for her. A month later, Hu Liena returned, bringing the required intelligence. 20 days from now, Yang Wudi of the Breaking Clan will head to the opening ceremony of Shrek Academy. During this time, he is busy with the matter of the family moving to the Tang sect, constantly running back and forth between Heaven Du City and the Star Lu Empire. There are many opportunities to make a move against him, but it is very difficult to find a time when he is alone. While dealing with Yang Wudi, we must also deal with a spirit saint of the Breaking Clan. Hu Liena explained all the intelligence she had collected in detail, then turned her gaze towards Qian Yu. Qian Yu looked towards Snake Lance Douluo. Being defeated by Yang Wudi, a spirit Douluo, was a great humiliation for him. Even though there were all kinds of circumstances at the time, and there was the reinforcement and assistance of external forces, a defeat was a defeat. Outsiders would not listen to your excuses. They preferred to hear stories of a spirit Douluo defying a titled Douluo. Yang Wudi's life, this time I will take it. Even though he still had his own injuries, Snake Lance Douluo's eyes were full of determination. Clearly, he was going to wash away this humiliation with his own hands at any cost. "I will wait here for your good news." Qian Yu knew that no one could make Snake Lance Douluo change his mind in this state. That was fine, too. When Snake Lance Douluo personally washed away this humiliation and recovered from his injuries, perhaps there would be hope for further progress. As for Snake Lance Douluo's injuries, there was no need to worry too much. Through the harmonization of the mysterious heaven skill, plus the medicinal assistance of Porcupinefish Douluo, and having fused with a 10,000-year head spirit bone, Snake Lance Douluo in this state could initially display the strength of a titled Douluo. Yang Wudi's Po Hun was indeed very sharp, but he had defeated Snake Lance Douluo twice, both times with the assistance of others. Without the assistance of others, could Yang Wudi defeat Snake Lance Douluo again? Qian Yu also really wanted to know the answer. Subsequently, Snake Lance Douluo and Porcupinefish Douluo, along with Hu Liena, the three of them went to ambush the clan chief of the Breaking Clan, Yang Wudi. Qian Yu was not idle either. In addition to the cultivation of spirit power and mental force, he had recently been trying out the ghost shadow perplexing track. Indeed, at first, Qian Yu did not take the so-called ghost shadow perplexing track to heart, but after studying it for a while, he discovered that this thing was too suitable for the possessor of an angel martial soul. Although the six-winged angel martial soul was a hexagonal warrior, it actually focused more on speed and flexibility. It already possessed perfect stats, and the ghost shadow perplexing track would add extreme manipulation on top of those stats, allowing it to perform at 120% perfection. In the mountains, time passed unnoticed. Unknowingly, half a month had passed. During this half-month, Qian Yu had initially mastered the ghost shadow perplexing track. His spirit power had also increased by one level following the fusion of the external spirit bone. It reached level 38. He had confidence that he would reach the realm of a level 40 spirit ancestor within 4 months. This was the talent of an innate spirit power of level 20. He would have to worry about finding a spirit ring again. Snake Lance Douluo had returned. He was carried back by Porcupinefish Douluo. Qian Yu was quite surprised by this. After all, with their lineup, if they still couldn't deal with one Yang Wudi, that would be too absurd. She long wanted to have a fair one-on-one battle with Yang Wudi. Porcupinefish Douluo saw the confusion in Qian Yu's eyes and provided an explanation. Clearly, he had not let others help, and had defeated Yang Wudi relying on his own strength. And the price was that his injuries were even worse. The kind where he fell directly into a coma. Have the required items been brought back? Qian Yu knew that the most important thing right now was to treat Snake Lance Douluo's injuries. That was why he asked Hu Liena, who was on the side. What exactly was on Yang Wudi that made you list him as the first target for hunting? As Hu Liena spoke, she handed the storage spirit tool from Yang Wudi's body to Qian Yu. She knew that Qian Yu possessed omniscience, and that was exactly why she was even more curious. After obtaining Yang Wudi's spirit tool, she had taken a rough look and did not find any precious items. Luck is not bad, there really is something. Qian Yu did not answer Hu Liena's question immediately, but buried his head into Yang Wudi's spirit tool to search for the items he needed. Soon, 2 items appeared in his hands. A thick book recording the refining methods of various deadly poisons and the characteristics of various rare medicinal herbs. As for the other item, it was a large flower. Its entire body was emerald green, emitting a strange, faint fragrance. It was precisely the immortal herb, Yaoxiang Qiluo. Chapter 22, Target, Ice and Fire Yin Yang Well. This is. Looking at the large flower Qian Yu had taken out, Hu Liena became even more confused. Was this single flower worth Qian Yu going to such great lengths? Logically speaking, you are the holy maiden of Spirit Hall, you often interacted with Chrysanthemum Douluo, and you are a girl. Did he never teach you any knowledge about precious medicinal herbs? Qian Yu flipped through Yang Wudi's notes while asking Hu Liena without looking up. Regarding the effects of the immortal herb, Yaoxiang Qiluo, he already had a general understanding through the original work and the Tang sect legacy obtained from Jixiang. As a supportive type of immortal herb, it didn't have much use for cultivate. The reason Qian Yu was flipping through Yang Wudi's notes was that he wanted to see if this immortal herb had any other uses. Asking who Liena was for the same reason. When I was young, Chrysanthemum Douluo did want me to learn these things, but teacher stopped him and even scolded Chrysanthemum Douluo, saying that he was leading me astray. Mentioning these two people, there was only sadness in Hu Liena's eyes. Whether it was teacher or Chrysanthemum Douluo, they were both elders who loved her very much. Now neither of them existed anymore. That makes sense, it is something Bibai Dong would do. Qian Yu responded subconsciously, his sharp-tongued skill activating once again. Regarding that idiot Bibai Dong, he really didn't want to comment much. If she had just read a few more books, she would have known what a fraud Yu Xiaogang was. She clearly admired knowledge, yet she refused it herself, and even forced those close to her to refuse knowledge. She simply had a brain disease. Of course, Qian Yu had another guess, which was that Bibai Dong had long since realized that Yu Xiaogang was a fraud. But she was unwilling to admit it and couldn't accept such a result. Therefore, she deceived herself and chose to ignore her own cognition. Just at this moment, Qian Yu's action of flipping the book stopped. He had found the detailed records regarding the immortal herb, Yaoxiang Qiluo. The immortal herb, Yaoxiang Qiluo, is the nemesis of all poisons and a supreme treasure for refining and detoxifying poisons. The holder can be immune to all poisons. Its fragrance can neutralize all poisons, purify medicinal impurities, improve the quality of medicine, and possesses the ability to amplify medicinal effects. If an owner with a compatible spirit activates it, it can form a pale pink invisible barrier with a diameter of 3 zhang. Inside the barrier, any poison is ineffective. It also possesses the effects of calming the mind and purifying the attributes of the spirit power of heaven and earth, stabilizing the variables of a spirit master's breakthrough, and can reconcile Qi and blood, assisting in the recovery of injuries. After reading the records about the immortal herb, Yaoxiang Qiluo in Yang Wudi's notes, Qian Yu couldn't help but sigh that everyone has their own area of expertise. Not to mention anything else, just in the research on this single immortal herb, Yang Wudi was superior to Tang San. Has the information I asked you to investigate been verified? Will Du Gubo take his granddaughter to attend the opening ceremony of Shrek Academy? Putting away the immortal herb and the notes, Qian Yu looked at Hu Liena again. According to the initial intelligence, there was less than 5 days left until the opening of Shrek Academy. If Du Gubo went to participate, it would be better. They could enter the ice and fire Yin Yang well without anyone noticing. If he did not go, they would have to take the risk of attacking Du Gubo. This was also the main reason he obtained the immortal herb, Yaoxiang Qiluo, first. Although Porcupinefish Douluo was not afraid of Du Gubo's deadly poison, others were. With the immortal herb, Yaoxiang Qiluo, even if they really ran into Du Gubo, they, along with the immortal herb, still had a great chance of taking him down. It is confirmed. Long ago, Shrek Academy publicly announced that Du Gubo would appear on the list for the opening ceremony. Hu Liena gave an accurate reply. Even so, Qian Yu was still somewhat uneasy. It was not that he doubted Hu Liena's intelligence, but rather Du Gubo himself. In the Great War against the Spirit Empire, Du Gubo had slaughtered so many people single-handedly. Although no one dared to say anything to his face, the title of Butcher would surely fall upon him. For such an important event as the Shrek Academy opening ceremony, would they really invite Du Gubo to participate? If he remembered correctly, someone had explicitly said that Yu Xiaogang disliked Du Gubo's stinking reputation and made Yu Tianheng and Du Guyan break up. Would they, who cared so much about reputation, let Du Gubo show up? However, thinking about it again, Qian Yu felt that he was overthinking. At this time, Du Gubo was still alive, and the others would not turn hostile so early. Senior Porcupinefish, this immortal herb, Yaoxiang Qiluo, has been retrieved. Next, we should head to the Sunset Forest. Whether it is to help Senior Snake Lance wake up, or to treat your injuries as much as possible, this time we must take a gamble. We will bet that Du Gubo is not there. If Du Gubo is in the vicinity, then we will attack with all our might and kill him at the first opportunity. Qian Yu roughly explained their plan, and then explained the effects of this immortal herb to everyone in detail. Is this an immortal herb? I used to hear Chrysanthemum Douluo say that his spirit was an immortal herb, and I thought he was just gilding his own face. I never thought that immortal herbs actually existed in this world. Porcupine Fish looked at the immortal herb, Yaoxian Kiluo in his hand, then circulated his spirit power, condensing a wisp of deadly poison. Watching helplessly as the deadly poison he condensed could not get close to the immortal herb, Yaoxian Kiluo, he was extremely shocked. Although he had some research in pharmacology, he ultimately had not reached the true peak, and mostly just knew the concept of immortal herb. He didn't even know what an immortal herb looked like. Seeing it today was truly shocking. Everything will be according to your arrangements. Without much hesitation, Porcupine Fish Douluo quickly made a decision. Whether it was to let Shilong wake up sooner or to recover from their injuries earlier, they had to take the risk. Although he didn't know if there were the medicinal herbs they needed in that old brat Dugubo's herb garden, since Qian Yu said there must be. After attacking Yang Wudi previously and obtaining what they wanted, Porcupine Fish firmly believed in everything Qian Yu said. Finally, after some discussion, they made full preparations. Everyone set out and headed to the Sunset Forest. After arriving there, they first found a safe place for Qian Yu, letting him temporarily look after Snake Lance Douluo. The others went to find Dugubo's herb garden, and after everything was completely resolved, they would take Qian Yu and the others into the herb garden. The plan was formulated, and then it was executed. Qian Yu and Snake Lance Douluo were placed in a cave halfway up a mountain. They waited quietly for the final result. Are you kidding me? Not long after Porcupine Fish Douluo and the others left, Qian Yu saw a 10,000-year spirit beast suddenly appear in his line of sight, and he felt speechless. What kind of situation is this? Chapter 23, Not Even Letting Go of the Immortal Herb Roots. A golden giant eagle, standing a full 5 or 6 meters tall, stared at him with sharp, piercing eyes. It was clearly treating him as prey. A 10,000-year golden feathered eagle, a fierce bird of prey with immense power. First spirit ability, Holy Light Body Protection. Second spirit ability, Holy Divine Light Escape. Third spirit ability, Holy Light Armor. Without any hesitation, Qian Yu immediately unleashed 3 spirit abilities. In an instant, he could clearly feel that his strength, speed, and defense had been maxed out. Being inside a cave, for him, fighting in this situation was not a wise move. After all, the 6-winged angel martial soul excelled in speed and flexibility. But given the current situation and circumstances, did he have a choice? He had been trapped like a turtle in a jar by a 10,000-year spirit beast. Although this description didn't sound very pleasant, it was the truth. The next moment, a long sword condensed from holy light appeared in Qian Yu's hand, and he took the initiative to attack the 10,000-year golden feathered eagle. This was his first real battle, and he dared not underestimate the opponent in the slightest. Bang! As a dull explosion echoed, he and the 10,000-year golden feathered eagle collided. His own body only trembled slightly, and then he was completely unaffected. Instead, that 10,000-year golden feathered eagle was sent flying directly by the powerful force. The control of power is not precise enough, and speed was not utilized perfectly. Qian Yu quickly adjusted his state and constantly summarized his performance. Then, just as he was preparing to have a big fight with the opponent, that 10,000-year golden feathered eagle simply flew away. It had actually fled. This was truly something Qian Yu hadn't expected. He did not chase after it. After all, he still had to guard the unconscious Snake Lance Douluo. Although it was just a collision during their first encounter, Qian Yu keenly discovered his own problems. His control over his power was too weak. No matter how well he simulated it in his mind, when it came to actual combat, there would ultimately be a huge gap. Qian Yu knew he had to find opportunities for real combat to increase his combat experience. Next, while summarizing his own problems, Qian Yu set a cultivate plan for himself. Not long after, Porcupinefish Douluo and the others returned. Douluo is not in that medicinal garden. Porcupinefish Douluo's face was beaming with a joyful smile at this moment. Apparently, upon entering the medicinal garden, he had discovered a scene that surprised him, and the harvest was significant. Let's go together. Qian Yu also wanted to see what the ice and fire yin yang well looked like now, after being ravaged by Tang San. And calculating the time, it had been many years since Tang San ravaged the ice and fire yin yang well. Subsequently, Porcupinefish Douluo took him and the unconscious snake Lance Douluo to fly towards and enter Douluo's medicinal garden, the ice and fire yin yang well. Without seeing it with one's own eyes, one could never describe that magnificence. Two completely different forces, blending with each other yet remaining distinct. The masterful workmanship of nature was truly awe-inspiring. This can be considered checking in at the ice and fire yin yang well, right? Looking at the ice and fire yin yang well before him, Qian Yu smiled self-deprecatingly. If he had arrived a few decades earlier, it would have been a completely different scene. Collecting his emotions, Qian Yu then began to compare the medicinal herbs with the immortal herb catalogue to identify them. Hoping to find some overlooked immortal herb among them. 7-grade purple mushroom, good luck, there's still such a leftover harvest. Although it cannot compare to a 10,000-year spirit medicine, it is still very precious. 1,000-year snow silkworm, not bad, not bad. Cinnabar lotus controls heat, can detoxify fire poison, take it, take it. There is also a damaged dragon Ganoderma leaf vine, it has some efficacy. Later, Qian Yu kept searching for the corresponding medicinal herbs and kept collecting them. Like a swarm of locusts passing through, whatever had even a little effect was all plucked away. If he didn't make full use of them, was he supposed to leave them for Tang San? Although it felt like panning for gold in ruins, he still found many herbs useful to them. The one with the highest age among them was a 10,000-year dragon blood vine. Qian Yu hadn't even expected that there could be such a harvest. Its quality had already reached the level of a semi-immortal grade, even far exceeding the 9-grade purple mushroom that Yu Xiaorogang had consumed back then. While he was busy, Porcupinefish Douluo was not idle either, constantly searching for and picking medicinal materials he recognized, and for those he didn't recognize, he asked Qian Yu to identify them by comparing them with the immortal herb catalogue. The kind that wouldn't even let a single hair remain. As for Hu Liener and the others, they were mostly admiring the scenery and staying vigilant of the surroundings. In this situation, they were completely unneeded. Just at this moment, Qian Yu discovered an abnormality on the ground. It was clearly raised there, as if something was growing underneath. Could it be the one I'm thinking of? Qian Yu immediately became excited. He immediately hurried forward and carefully dug around the area. After tossing about for a full half-hour, a half-meter-long bamboo shoot appeared in his line of sight. Immortal herb Ink Jade Divine Bamboo. Looking at this immortal herb before him, besides being pleasantly surprised, Qian Yu still felt some regret. It would likely take hundreds or thousands of years before it could completely become an immortal herb. But because of its inherent uniqueness, its efficacy far exceeded that of a semi-immortal grade. He couldn't wait that many years, and since he had encountered it, it meant it was destined not to transform into an immortal herb. Without any hesitation, Qian Yu dug it out and stored it in his storage spirit tool. Since I could find the Ink Jade Divine Bamboo, what about the other immortal herbs? Qian Yu immediately became incomparably excited. Hopping to find the Earth Dragon Golden Melon, the Star Liu Spirit Pearl, and the Hunyuan Immortal Herb. Not knowing if it hadn't borne fruit or what, he only found a few things suspected to be Earth Dragon Golden Melon vines, but did not find the fruit. As for the Star Liu Spirit Pearl, there was absolutely no trace of it. Instead, he found a spirit medicine, suspected to be the Hunyuan Immortal Herb. Besides this, he also obtained a clover that could enhance mental force. On Porcupinefish Douluo's side, apart from some conventional spirit medicines, the biggest harvest was a fire attribute medicinal material, nearly 10,000 years old. Other than that, there were no other harvests. Although he was mentally prepared, he still felt very disappointed in the end. After all, apart from the clover and the immortal herb, suspected to be the Hunyuan immortal herb, the rest were not of much help to him. Even that ink jade divine bamboo did not suit him. Would the roots of the immortal herbs possess some effect? After searching through it once, Qian Yu focused his gaze on the roots and stems left behind by Tang San when he picked the immortal herbs in the past. He knew that this act of severing the roots was even worse than Tang San's behavior. But Qian Yu just wanted to give it a try. What if it had an effect? Do it. After only a moment of hesitation, Qian Yu made his decision. To thoroughly dig up the roots of these immortal herbs. If he could become a god and defeat Tang San. And if he felt guilty about it, then he could just transplant some more from elsewhere. After all, this stuff was very common in the god realm. Of course, Qian Yu did not think he would feel guilty. To put it plainly, leaving this here would just be providing resources to the enemy, Tang San, wouldn't it? As such, he would dig it up by the roots. After going back, he would let Hu Liener and the others be the guinea pigs. If it really had an effect, it would be a pleasant surprise. Then Qian Yu began to grunt and strain as he started digging up the roots of those immortal herbs. This scene left Hu Liener and the others dumbfounded. That was not the end of it. Qian Yu also collected a lot of the soil here, as well as the spring water from the ice and fire yin-yang well. Although this stuff was incredibly overbearing, there were corresponding containers that could hold it. If it weren't for the fact that his spirit tool was completely full, Qian Yu would have loved to dig up the entire layer of topsoil. Retreat. After confirming there was nothing left behind, Qian Yu and the others left quickly. They returned to the Stardew Great Forest. Meanwhile, on the other side, the newly established campus of Shrek Academy was officially completed, attracting onlookers from all parties. This was, after all, the academy that had once taught a god. Various forces not only sent gifts, but also sent their children to Shrek Academy one after another. Whether they learned anything was not important. What was important was being able to use this platform to make broader connections. Schoolmaster Enning, you have arrived. Welcome, welcome. Clan Chief Bai, please come in. Your Majesty, I never imagined that you would personally grace us with your presence. Later, Flender stood outside the school gate, continuously receiving guests. He was now radiant and full of ambition. He, who once disliked dealing with nobles, was now like a fish in water within these noble circles. It was just unclear whether he had betrayed his original intentions, or if it was because he was now a noble himself, having adapted to his own status and class. The former sect master of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, Ning Fengjai, no longer possessed his former elegance. He was now full of white hair and looked so weathered and exhausted. In a high-stakes gamble, he could be said to have won. His sect had produced an heir to a divinity. But it seemed as if he had gained nothing. Uncle Sword and Uncle Bone had passed away, and more than half of the 7 treasure glazed tile school disciples had been lost, with only a few remaining. Not only that, but the wealth that the 7 treasure glazed tile school had accumulated over nearly 10,000 years had also completely ceased to exist. Indeed, the wealth of the 7 treasure glazed tile school had been seized by Spirit Hall, but what about the wealth of Spirit Hall? Hadn't it all fallen into the hands of the Clear Sky sect and the 2 great empires? When interests were being redistributed with only him, a support system spirit master, sitting at that table, what could he possibly reclaim? Only an empty shell of the 7 treasure glazed tile school remained. He had approached Oscar, wanting him and Rongrong to leave a child at the 9 treasure glazed tile sect. As a smart person, Oscar naturally would not refuse. But Rongrong would not agree. Not only that, but when he most needed Rongrong's support, she had run off to some Sea God Island to become the High Priestess of Sea God Island. Although Oscar was responsive to her requests most of the time, he listened to Rongrong more often. Enning Fengjai's heart was bitter and sour. The reason he came here was more to see if there were any remaining children who could be cultivated and brought back to the sect for intensive training. Although the 9 treasure glazed tile sect was in a difficult situation now, the characteristics of his spirit meant he was not short on money. Enning Fengzhai summoned his courage, intending to make a comeback. But finding someone capable of becoming a titled Douluo was incredibly difficult. After looking for a long time, Ning Fengzhai did not find the target he wanted. Just as he was preparing to pick up his teacup to drink, he noticed a note had inexplicably appeared on the table. Enning Fengzhai subconsciously tensed up. In the past, when Uncle Sword and Uncle Bone were around, he never had to worry about his own safety, which had developed into this bad habit. He hadn't even noticed when someone approached him. Enning Fengzhai warned himself that he must be vigilant in the future. After all, he no longer had a titled Douluo to protect him. After hesitating for a moment, Ning Fengzhai opened the note. "Teacher, seeing these words is like meeting in person. Please forgive my offense." Upon seeing the opening content on the note, Ning Fengzhai's hand suddenly trembled violently. There was only one person who addressed him as teacher. The former crown prince of the Heaven Du Empire, Zhu Qing's, or rather Qian Renxue. "Admittedly, I deceived you in the past, but you truly taught me a great deal. In Zhu's heart, you will always be my teacher. I know that Spirit Hall brought tremendous harm to the 7 treasure glazed tile school. Although this was caused by internal strife within Spirit Hall, the one who committed such acts was ultimately my mother. Zhu has no right to ask you to forgive anyone, nor do I have the right to claim to be your disciple. In the end, I failed to protect the 7 treasure glazed tile school. All the faults lie with me, but those children of Spirit Hall, the ordinary deacons, they never participated in the war. Just because they bore the name of Spirit Hall, they became orphans without parents, wandering around being ostracized, unable to eat their fill, and being lashed out at due to past grievances. I once wanted to become the angel god to protect one side, but now I cannot even protect these children. After thinking it over, in the entire Douluo Continent, you are the only one worthy of being entrusted with this." The descendants of the 2 titled Douluo of the Elder Hall, Qianjun and Jiangmo, have inherited the Coiling Dragon Rod spirit. The Coiling Dragon Rod is a top-tier tool spirit, and this is even without contracting the Evil Breaking Dragon. If an heir who has contracted the Evil Breaking Dragon spirit could appear among the descendants, it would be a super tool spirit capable of crushing the Clear Sky Hammer in every aspect. The Flaming Lion lineage has many offspring and is also a top-tier beast spirit, the Golden Crocodile. "Teacher, I know your methods. As long as you wish, these children will certainly be able to completely devote their hearts to you and become the eternal guardians of your 7 treasure glazed tile school. Whether you enslave, assimilate, or drive them, it does not matter. I only hope that you can protect them a little, just enough so they can eat their fill." A letter of only a few hundred words, written with genuine sincerity. In short, it was one sentence, hoping Ning Fengzhai would take action to protect those descendants of the Elder Hall. Their spirits were all very outstanding and possessed stable inheritance. After reading the letter in his hand, Ning Fengzhai looked again at the spot where the note had just been placed, where an identity token was also lying. It was the identity token of the former young lord of Spirit Hall. Ning Fengzhai admitted that he was tempted. Flame Lion King, Coiling Dragon Rod, Golden Crocodile, these were all top-tier spirits. If he could truly subdue them and win their hearts, in the next century, their 7 treasure glazed tile school would definitely be able to rise again. As for whether there would be trouble in recruiting and protecting them, Ning Fengzhai really did not need to worry about such things. Not to mention anything else, just speaking of their contribution during the battle against the Spirit Empire, besides the Clear Sky sect, what other force could compare to the 7 treasure glazed tile school? What was wrong with recruiting some remnants of Spirit Hall? Chapter 25, Who is Flender's Beloved? There was a moment when Ning Fengzhai even wondered what the situation would be like if Qian Renxue had recruited their 7 treasure glazed tile school earlier, and the Spirit Empire had ultimately won. It couldn't possibly be worse than it is now. With these thoughts swirling in his mind, Ning Fengzhai made a decision. He was determined to recruit these remnants of the Spirit Hall. He had no problem living for another 100 years. With 100 years of time, he was confident that he could make these remnants of the Spirit Hall pledge their loyalty to their 7 treasure glazed tile school. If he could see another guardian Douluo appear in the 7 treasure glazed tile school before he died, he would be able to rest in peace and meet the ancestors of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. He was truly disheartened by his daughter's estrangement. Putting away the letter and the identity token, Ning Fengzhai began to calculate how to win over the remnants of the Elder Hall to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Besides that, he also wanted to gather some descendants of the Angel Legion. As for whether it would backfire, Ning Fengzhai was relatively confident about such matters. This secret letter was not written by Qian Renxue. Naturally, it was the work of Qian Yu. After obtaining her 3rd spirit ring, Qian Renxue briefly awakened. Who knows what madness possessed her, but she suddenly felt that she had failed the grandfathers of the Elder Hall, so she asked Qian Yu to help think of a way to take care of the descendants of the many elders in the Elder Hall. Thus, this letter came to be. After reading the contents of the letter and confirming his plans, Ning Fengzhai looked down at the Shrek Academy recruitment again and suddenly felt it was dull and uninteresting. But since he had already come, leaving early would ultimately be inappropriate. Ning Fengzhai simply decided to stay and watch the show. And sure enough, he really did see quite a show. Before the Shrek Academy opening ceremony, they had publicized that the Divine Master would attend the scene and would even stay at Shrek Academy to teach the disciples. Using the name and gimmick of the Divine Master, Shrek Academy had engaged in extensive publicity. But Ning Fengzhai noticed that there were no arrangements made to receive the Divine Master, as if Shrek Academy had forgotten about the matter. Was that really the case? While the opening ceremony here was in full swing, within Heaven Dew City, the Divine Master Yu Xiaorogang was holding an impromptu spirit theory research conference, inviting various factions to attend. With the current prestige of the Divine Master, even without prior preparation or advance invitations, once the message was sent out, various factions soon received the notification. Dean Flender, this is a gift my Duke asked me to prepare for you. The Duke has urgent matters and truly cannot come. Our sect master has sent the most genius disciple in the sect to your academy, which is enough to show his sincerity. If he were not in need of seclusion for a breakthrough, he would definitely have come to congratulate you in person. Hello, Dean, a sudden change has occurred at my home, and I need to handle it immediately. The Shrek Academy opening ceremony had only been going on for half the time, and people kept finding various excuses to leave. Some people left their subordinates behind while they hurriedly left under various pretexts. The originally bustling conference instantly became much quieter. Flender's expression was incredibly ugly when he saw this scene. Nowadays, there are not many people on this Douluo Continent who have such pulling power, and he happened to know one of them. An old friend from the past, Yu Xiaorogang. This was clearly meant to embarrass him and make him bow his head. Everything stemmed from the origin of that story that had been circulating back then. It was originally a trivial matter. Finding the source of the rumors and clarifying it would have sufficed. If that didn't work, with Yu Xiaorogang's current prestige, a few words would have solved it. Unexpectedly, the situation intensified, spreading at a terrifying speed that was impossible to control, and in the process of spreading, it was inevitably adapted. Thus, Yu Xiaorogang became dissatisfied and demanded that Flender handle it. Although Flender was a spirit Douluo and had a titled Douluo as a disciple, he really didn't have the ability to handle such matters. The two of them developed a rift. As luck would have it, just at this time, another rumor spread privately. The Divine Master Yu Xiaorogang is infertile. It sounded absurd, and no one dared to say it openly, but the matter still reached Yu Xiaorogang's ears. He pushed all the blame onto Flender, believing this was Flender's frame-up. Of course, Yu Xiaorogang was not stupid enough to believe that Flender had done this. The reason he did so was that he wanted Flender to stay away from his wife, Liu Erlong. As a man, having a brother by your side who is constantly coveting your wife, and whose strength is greater than yours, Yu Xiaorogang never felt secure. Subsequently, he asks Yu Beng to suppress this matter and not let these rumors spread. It would have been fine not to suppress it, but once suppressed, the rumors spread even more widely. If it were only this, their relationship of so many years would not have broken. The most critical point was that Yu Xiaorogang personally saw Flender pestering Liu Erlong. No matter how much Flender and Liu Erlong explained, Yu Zairogang simply didn't believe them. Then a rift appeared between the brothers. Boss Flender, how can there be so many misunderstandings? I think that Yu Zairogang has just become puffed up with pride, feeling that his status is different from ours, and he wants to keep you under his thumb. Seeing the two of them making such a fuss over this, Zhao Wuji gave his own opinion from the side. I actually think that Yu Zairogang's move is about contention. He is fighting for the weight of the authority to teach a god. He wants to cut ties with our Shrek Academy and monopolize this reputation and credit. Another teacher at Shrek Academy, Lai Yusong, pondered for a moment and gave his own conclusion. Let's just leave it at that for now. Once Oscar and Rongrong also become gods, my old friend won't be so worried anymore. By then, everything will be able to return to how it was. Although Flender did not quite agree with Lai Yusong's words, this was very likely the truth. He could understand. Zairogang had suffered too many grievances in the first half of his life. At this current juncture, in order to prove himself, it was inevitable that he would feel a sense of urgency and crisis. Even after experiencing so many things, Flender still didn't feel that Zairogang was wrong. Zhao Wuji looked at Flender, his eyes very strange. He always felt that Flender was too tolerant of Yu Zairogang, just like the tolerance one has for a beloved. If it weren't for the fact that Yu Zairogang was a man, and he knew that Flender deeply loved Liu Erlong, he would have suspected that the object of Flender's affection was Yu Zairogang. Regardless, the Shrek Academy opening ceremony had finally been successfully held. On the other side, Qian Yu led Huliener and their group back to the secret base in the Stardew Great Forest. They could be considered to have gained a full harvest and began to divide the spoils on the spot. That's it for today's chapter. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe to Infinite Novel Audio. For more stories, check out my other channel AI Otaku Studio, and I'll see you in the next chapter.